backer. Again, you'll hear from Clegg coming up a little bit later. A little bit different of a role in this BYU defense that have a little bit more hybrid edge rushers in Kelly Papinga's defensive scheme. What about the offensive side? Aaron Roderick. Crazy to think A-Rod is entering his 9th season as BYU's offensive coordinator. Started in 2018. It's already 2026, and he's still doing his thing as BYU's OC. I know a lot of Cougar Nation sometimes has mixed reviews on A-Rod. They want to fire him into the sun sometimes, and they love him. I think last year was one of his best jobs that he's probably had or done in his BYU coaching career. To have 12 wins with a true freshman quarterback, it was quite impressive. I asked A-Rod the strength of his BYU offense with 1 week remaining in spring ball.
I think we just have I think we have balance. I think we're going to be a balanced team. We can run it, we can throw it, and we have good size, and we're going to be physical. Such
a coach speak answer you could say, but I think it's true. BYU is pretty balanced. I will say, though, one question that I do have about BYU in spring ball and going forward into the 2026 season, as we count down to September 5th when BYU kicks it off against Utah Tech this fall, and all of the action, of course, can be heard right here on the legacy home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio. Will BYU's offense have more explosive playmaking ability? I'm absolutely confident LJ Martin, best running back in the Big 12, maybe the best offensive player in the Big 12. He's the reigning offensive player of the year in the league. No questions about LJ. I think Bear could be the best quarterback in the Big 12, potentially. We shall see. But I think one of the knocks on BYU last year, when you look at the numbers of the team, pretty pedestrian. But what was a strength, they were 9th nationally in time of possession. BYU was brilliant at absorbing the clock, shrinking a game, and honestly shrinking possessions. Can you be a more explosive attack that if there ever is a situation where you're in a hole, like you were against Texas Tech, do you have the quick firepower to respond and get back in a game quickly? I don't think BYU had that as much last year. LJ was much better at the big runs than he was maybe his first 2 years. He didn't deal with lower body injuries last season. Of course, that was the shoulder late in the year last season. But I think that's the one question I have. But from the balance perspective, you love the fact that Bear, who looks really good in spring ball, and I think that Bear, again, could be the best quarterback potentially in the Big 12, and I have no questions about LJ. And I think this offensive line is going to be better this season. You lose Isaiah Jada at left tackle. You lose Waylon Lapuaho. But I think that the retooled offensive line is going to be better. I've sung his praises many weeks now, and since he joined the BYU team, Paki Finau from the University of Washington, he will be outstanding. If you've listened to Cougar Tracks Daily, I've been so high on him since he committed to BYU. He will be your starting left tackle, and he'll be outstanding. He will add to the line that's been Brady Christensen, Blake Freeland, Kingsley Suamataia, Caleb Etienne, Isaiah Jada, all of those guys, and I assume Jada will probably get an undrafted free agent NFL opportunity. Those are all NFL players since 2020 at the left tackle position. You play left tackle at BYU in this decade, you're an NFL guy. And last year, Finau started at guard for Washington for about 3 or 4 games. His best years are ahead of him. He's going to be outstanding for BYU. And then you got Gentry returning at right tackle. And then Bruce Mitchell's in the heart of it all at center. You've got Junior Sia at guard. Trevin Osler is really rising at the guard position as well. You still got Sonny Mocassini, Kyle Safarachok, who's got starting experience. This offensive line is loaded. And then a youngster in Bot Mulitalo, who I think in a perfect world, you redshirt him, a former top 100 recruit who was once committed to the University of Oregon, once a defensive lineman, still learning the offensive line position. If they could redshirt him, man, that could be huge. You got to keep the main offensive tackles healthy, but you've got options. I think you go 9 deep at offensive line right now for BYU. So the balance piece that Aaron Roderick is putting down, which is a simple comment, I think there's some truth and validity to that. Let's take our first break. On the other side, we'll get to some more BYU football spring talk here on Cougar Sports Saturday. It's powered by KSL Sports.
It's spring. You get outside and it's obvious your house needs painting. Make an appointment with CertaPro Painters. They'll give you a free estimate quickly and at the right price. And they make the entire process easy with reliable updates and communication. They know how important your home is to you. True professionals, they're committed to quality and exceptional service at the right price. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated, so schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
The 51st Annual O'Reilly Auto Parts Auto-Rama. March 27th through 29th, Mountain America Expo Center. Get discount tickets at O'Reilly Auto Parts stores. See America's finest hot rods, customs, trucks, lowriders, motorcycles, more all weekend. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Auto-Rama. March 27th through 29th, Mountain America Expo Center. Buy your discount general admission tickets exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts stores.
Sign up for KSL Text Alerts. Get breaking news and traffic updates by texting the word news to 57500. Want access to exclusive contests? Text contest to 57500. Jazz fans, text the word jazz for breaking jazz updates. And Cougar fans, text BYU to 57500 for the latest on the Cougars. Message and data rates may apply.
Amanda, every business needs IT help, and sometimes you've got that guy who already works for your company who knows how to do this stuff, but sometimes you don't, or the guy who knows the IT stuff, that's not his actual job.
Right. So Les Olson IT they can be your 24/7 help desk. They can support your existing help desk. They can do advanced cybersecurity protection. Maybe just come and take a look. Are you subject to phishing or ransomware or other things? What are the cyber threats you're facing?
And you've got to make sure that your data is secure, so both cloud and data backup solutions, they can help you with that. Plus, everybody's got to use a computer. That's where hardware comes in, infrastructure support. You don't have to know all this stuff because Les Olson IT knows it.
And most of the time, they can help you fix whatever's going wrong remotely, just off your computer. Plus, of course, they have copiers and printers. They always will at the very best price.
Les Olson IT is your trusted local IT partner. They've been in business for 70 years, and they've got 9 locations from Logan to Las Vegas.
Find out more at lesolson.com.
Did you know GoodRx can help you save on medication, manage prescriptions, and get trusted health information? If you're one of the millions living with a heart condition, check GoodRx for an easier, more affordable way to manage your health. GoodRx offers common heart medications for under $30. Just search for your prescription, find the best price, then show your pharmacist the GoodRx coupon. And it works whether you have insurance or not. To start saving and better manage your heart health, download the free app or visit GoodRx.com today. GoodRx is not insurance but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids. Rolaids' dual-active formula has calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. Yeah, you heard right. 2 actives for that powerful relief. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolade spells powerful relief. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Are your investments in the right accounts? What's best, traditional or Roth? Are you receiving all available tax deductions? Are you paying as little in tax as you can? These are all questions you can't afford to get wrong. Hi, I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth, and in many cases, it's not what you make, but it's what you keep that makes the real difference. Trajan Wealth and Trajan Tax work closely together exclusively. No more guessing about whether you should do a Roth conversion, or if maxing out your 401k is really the best option. Our nationally recognized fiduciary advisors and CPA team work in tandem to make sure your tax strategy works with your investment strategy. We'll even do your tax preparation. One team, one strategy. Isn't it time for a second opinion? Call Trajan today. 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Trajan Wealth, an SEC registered investment advisor. Additional services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures and accreditation at TrajanWealth.com.
Some stories are written in ink. Others are written in the heart. Experience the romance and the legend of Titanic, the exhibition, now open in Sandy. Stroll the promenade under a starry sky, stand before the grand staircase, and connect with true stories of love and heroism that have captivated the world for over a century. Discover a date night or a family outing unlike any other. Tickets are moving fast. Book yours at thetitanicexhibition.com. Titanic, the exhibition, at the shops at Southtown and Sandy.
Welcome back into Cougar Sports Saturday here on KSL News Radio. Mitch Harper here with you. KSL News Time, 12:24 p.m. on March 28th here in downtown Salt Lake City, Utah broadcast house here at KSL. BYU football spring practices continue to roll on. Next week, we'll have the BYU alumni game coming up on Friday, April 3rd, 6 p.m., kickoff at LaVelle Edwards Stadium. So we'll see some of the former BYU greats duking it out in a navy blue, royal blue game. We'll dive into some of those rosters of some of the players that are going to be competing. But Norm Chow and Robbie Bosco are going to be the coaches. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Kalani Sitake overseeing his 11th spring practice. Isn't that crazy? The former BYU fullback leading his alma mater now in his 11th season as head coach at BYU, and he's the guy. And I believe him when he says that contract extension, it puts him here for the rest of his career. Obviously, he's still got to win and take care of business, but I don't think there's any better man to lead BYU football than Kalani Sitake. And this year, this offseason, he found a new defensive coordinator to replace Jay Hill. Obviously, Jay Hill leaves for Michigan to follow Kyle Whittingham to go join the Maize and Blue. Tip of the cap to Jay Hill. He was fantastic the past 3 years. There's a high bar for what the defense needs to be, and there was a foundation established. Kalani Sitake handed the keys over to Kelly Papinga. This was Kalani on his initial impressions of how K-Pop has performed as defensive coordinator in spring ball this month.
There's no doubt in my mind that he was the next one in line. And even when Jay was here, my job was to prep and get the next one ready. So I spent a lot of time with K-Pop. That's why he was stood in front of the team quite a bit, and why I put him in position to basically be able to see the entire team so he can evaluate who could possibly play on his side too. And then I just really want him to be his own person, but at the same time, there's stuff that I think we're really, really good at. But I think his background, when you bring it all together, he's a guy that understands how to put this thing together. And I'm being honest, I've been really, really fired up about how he's doing it and he's actually, from my expectations, he's exceeded it so far. And we haven't played a game yet, but I think this is going to be a pretty good thing for us.
Anyone that knows Kalani Sitake and has listened to his commentary over the years knows that he doesn't do that sort of thing where he shows much excitement about a certain topic, a certain player, a certain coach, if he doesn't have conviction behind it. Because, again, Kalani sometimes can be a guy that does a lot of coach speak, and he'll say a lot of stuff, but it's not like lost in the weeds, there's a message. He just point blank was like, K-pop is exceeding my expectations, and you got to love that. Because, again, so many people back in December were like, let Kalani walk. Keep Jay Hill as the coach. He's the one that saved BYU. Folks, Kalani was the one that hired Jay Hill. And Jay Hill, one of the best coordinators in the last 30 years. And look, there's been some great coordinators over the years. We know that. I mean, you go back, Doug Scoville, Norm Chow, we can go on and on. Even Ken Schmidt back in the day with defense. There's been some great coordinators at BYU. Jay Hill, one of the greats. But at the end of the day, Kalani's the heartbeat to it all. And whenever there's a change made, Kalani's had a knack to find coaches that can continue to operate at a high level and take it to a higher gear. That's the challenge in front of Kelly Papinga. Last year's defense was, I don't know if as good as the 2024, but I think what made last year's defense better in the sense was they were very opportunistic on takeaways, and they got home more on sacks. And if you can still be an opportunistic defense with takeaways, BYU last year was 20th nationally in turnover margin. You can do that, you're going to win a lot of ball games because, again, you got a lot more talent than you've had in the past. This is a much more talented, deeper defense than last year. Yes, you lose Jack Kelly, but you bring in Kedu Luave, a first-team All-ACC, former Pac-12 Freshman of the Year at Cal. He now comes to BYU for his senior season. So high praise from Kalani Sitake for his first-year defensive coordinator, Kelly Papinga. Let's go back to the offensive side after the break. We'll hear from BYU wide receiver Reggie Frischknecht, entering his second season in the program. Is he ready to level up and contribute to this wide receiver unit? It's Cougar Sports Saturday here on KSL.
Utah homeowners, listen up. If your roof is over 15 years old and you've had recent storm damage, now's the time to act. Hey, it's Josh with IWC Roofing, and we've built our reputation on quality, integrity, and taking care of homeowners the right way from start to finish. IWC Roofing, Utah's highest-rated roofing company, is now offering $2,500 off your new roof replacement, plus a free upgrade package to maximize your home's protection and value. But that's not all. We're giving away a free roof. Yep, you heard me. One homeowner will receive a brand new roof free. The winner to be announced August 1st. And here's where it gets even better. When you call and mention this radio ad, you'll receive double entries to win. Appointments are filling up fast, and this offer won't last. Call now for your free inspection and estimate. 801-232-5690. That's 801-232-5690. Save $2,500, get upgraded, and you could win a brand new roof. Call IWC Roofing today, 801-232-5690. Restrictions apply. No purchase necessary. See IWCRoofingUtah.com for details and rules.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Couponing. Wow, you didn't strike me as the coupon type.
Just trying to stay ahead of inflation. Gas, groceries, everything. It's all more expensive. I need to save wherever I can.
Have you tried Upside yet?
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that I use that pays cash back for every gallon of gas I buy. You've got to buy gas to get around anyway. Might as well get paid for it.
Come on, does that really add up to anything?
I've already made around $200. The extra cash helped pay down my bills, and I even had a little extra left to treat myself.
And the Upside app is free?
Totally free, and the cash back is real. You can transfer the cash right to your bank account.
I'm downloading Upside right now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code ENJOY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Good afternoon. It's 12:32 at KSL News Radio. I'm Isabella Sosa. KSL's top story this hour: House Republicans rejected the Senate's plan to reopen the Department of Homeland Security and passed their own. Now, this new version needs to go back to the Senate, but senators have already left town for 2 weeks.
Lawmakers are now out of Washington. They're back home in their districts and their states. I talked to lawmakers on both sides of the aisle. Right now, there are no plans for either chamber to return to address this. And we've asked GHS, how long will these TSA workers keep getting paid? We know they'll get paid on Monday, but will they continue to see those paychecks the longer this drags on? They did not give us a firm answer.
That's ABC senior political correspondent Rachel Scott. In local news, a former school bus driver will soon be sentenced for intentionally setting the bus he was driving on fire. KSL News Radio's Reagan Edelman explains.
Police say that Michael Ford admitted to setting the bus on fire. They also say that the 2023 incident was captured on camera, where you see the 60-year-old ignite the bus and continue to drive in spite of the smoke. The U.S. Attorney's Office says he'll be sentenced on a federal level because while the school district owned the school bus, they were receiving federal funds. That sentencing is scheduled for June.
Prosecutors also say that Ford was accused of a similar arson a year before, while children were on the bus. BYU sketch comedy show Studio C announced a special guest joining the season 22 premiere in April.
Identity theft is not a joke, Jim. Millions of families suffer every year. Michael!
Rainn Wilson, most famous for his role as Dwight Schrute in The Office. Studio C says he'll appear in multiple sketches with a sneak peek coming out Friday. Coming up, 70s this weekend. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 12:34.
High five! Up top!
Dave's company just got the 5-year price lock guarantee from Comcast Business. Yeah! It's 5 years of gig speed internet, advanced security, and a great rate that won't change. All from the company with 99.9% network reliability. Heck
yeah!
He hasn't given this many high fives since Deborah brought in her famous banana bread.
Yes!
The Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee. Powering 5 years of savings, powering possibilities.
And it's hurting, but I am not stopping.
For a limited time, now through March 29th, switch to Comcast Business to lock in your rate for 5 years and get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying gig bundle. Or ask how to get started with 150 megabit internet and Security Edge for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Don't wait. Call today. Restrictions apply. New customers only. 1-year contract required for guaranteed rate. Paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account required. 5-year pricing applies to monthly service charge excluding taxes and fees.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big, UCCU, love where you bank. No issues to report, but you'll want to avoid Bangerter Highway in West Jordan as it's closed for repairs. Highs this weekend are in the 70s and the lows are in the 50s with a 10% chance of rain. Right now it's partly cloudy and 63 degrees. I'm Isabella Sosa, KSL News Radio. 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's Cougar Sports Saturday.
Touchdown! Stayed inside the boundary and gets in for 6.
Cougar Sports Saturday, a presentation of KSL Sports.
Richie right to the rim, driving score!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Here's your host, Mitch Harper, on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Hope you're having a fantastic Saturday afternoon out there in Cougar Nation. Mitch Harper here with you over the next 3 hours, talking BYU sports. And a big topic at BYU football spring practice this month has been the wide receiver position. Chase Roberts, he's gone, one of the great receivers in BYU football history. Showed out quite well at BYU Pro Day last week, ran a 4.54 40. And then, of course, the departure of Parker Kingston as he continues to face the allegations and charges of first-degree felony rape. I was actually down there in St. George earlier this week. He got his GPS ankle monitor removed. He'll have his preliminary hearing coming up on April 2nd down in St. George. So we'll keep you up to speed on everything with the latest of the allegations with Parker Kingston going forward in that case. But again, as I lay out those key personnel from last season's team, they're gone. So there's an opening for more production in that wide receiver unit for BYU in 2026. One of those guys that looks to have a greater impact in this wide receiver unit is a player in Reggie Frischnecht, former Manti, Utah native, small town Utah local guy, worked his way from small high school to Snow College, then to Weber State, now to BYU. Last season was a redshirt year for Reggie Frischnecht, who dons the number 18 as a BYU Cougar. And I asked him earlier this week at practice how his first spring at BYU is going so far, because last year he didn't join the program until after spring practices. Here's Reggie Frischnecht on his first spring.
First spring's doing great. I'm loving the layout of it. We do a lot of crossover teams, so that's basically the one defense versus one offense, and it's great competition because in the fall you try to keep guys healthy, so you're more focused on getting the concepts right, and here it's more competition, which is great, and I love it.
How much more comfortable are you with this offense now in year 2? You joined it after the spring portal window last year. How much more comfortable do you feel in this offense?
So much more comfortable. Last year, coming in the summer and trying to learn stuff real quick right before fall camp, and then having a year under my belt, I feel like I can just fly, and that helps a ton because it gives you confidence, confidence to make plays and not having to worry about lining up right and stuff like that. So it's great.
How did you get here to BYU? You go from Snow College to Weber State, then to BYU, but like what ultimately led to all those twists and turns in this kind of unique path to getting here?
Yeah, it was kind of a crazy thing that happened. So out of high school, I didn't really have any offers until like February, like right before signing day, week before signing day. So snow knocked on my door, and then they said they want to come play, and I was like, that sounds fun. It's my hometown, literally a block away from my house where I grew up. So we went and played there in the fall, and I did well. Became the starter a few weeks into camp and put up good numbers. And then right after the season ended, I was like, I want to go play somewhere. I was thinking about coming back to Snow, and I was like, I want to go play somewhere. So I ended up going to Weber State. Coach Skylar Ridley, shout out Skylar, love him, great guy. And then I had a good spring there. I went in there and I became like a 1 within the first 3 weeks or so. And then I just had this thought like, I want to believe in myself and I want to think I can play bigger. So I ended up hitting the portal after spring ball and ended up here. So it was great.
I'm curious, just to follow up, did Skylar maybe put in a good word? Because obviously for listeners and viewers, Skylar once played here at BYU. So when you were maybe in the conversation with BYU, did he maybe kind of put in a good word for you? Like what was the point of reference here at BYU that got you here?
Yeah, so Skylar did put in a good word for me. Fessy called Skylar, I'm pretty sure, and me and Skylar were really close. So he put in a good word for me, and that's kind of how I ended up here.
Well, how's the BYU experience been so far?
It's amazing. The best college experience I've had, from school, social life, to definitely the football program. It's a family, and you can feel like the BYU love. It's great.
There's big openings in this wide receiver unit this year. How confident are you that you're going to be able to contribute week after week and be a reliable piece in this wide receiver unit? Because it seems like with Fessy and A-Rod, they want guys that they can trust week after week. Do you feel like you can be that this year?
I think so. Like we were talking about, getting the playbook under me for a year and having that down now, I think it just gives me the best opportunity. We have a ton of talent in the room, and it comes down to, like what you said, they have to trust you. Making plays here in camp consistently and knowing your plays well, doing the little nuances. And I think I'm pretty good at that. I'm a fast learner, so I think I have a good chance.
We saw during this media observation period today, I think from a distance I saw you got a catch. Was that a touchdown today?
I had a touchdown in Skelly, yeah, and then I had a long catch and run in our drive-it period. So I don't know what one you saw, but yeah.
Well, it was in the distance, but
okay.
How do you feel as far as the competition, though, at wide receiver? Because there's a lot of talent along with yourself. Mm-hmm. Just maybe how competitive, but also at the same time coming together as a team for 2026.
Yeah, we have a ton of talent, like you were saying. For me, Cody, Tay, and then Kyler, JoJo, Legend, a few freshmen coming in, very talented. So I think the dynamic's great, though. We all cheer for each other. We all want to see each other succeed. So it's just, yeah, it's good.
Last couple of things here for you, Reggie, and I appreciate the time. I'm curious, did you growing up have any interest in BYU as a fan? Because I bring that up because a lot of people here locally maybe grow up a BYU fan or Utah fan. Was BYU much of a thought for you growing up?
To be honest, not really. My dad played at Washington State, so growing up, kind of just biased Washington State fan. And so I grew up Washington State fan, and then I ended up going to my first BYU game my freshman year of high school. And I was going to Utah games because we had free tickets, our friends had season tickets. So first BYU game my freshman year of high school, and I was like, wow, I want to play here. Because nothing like the Velazquez Stadium and the energy and the crowd. So ever since freshman year when I first went to the game was when I wanted to be here.
You said your dad was at Washington. Was he a football player too?
Yeah, football player. He played tight end.
So on the Palouse, the Cougs and the Palouse, has he embraced seeing now you here at BYU?
Yeah.
Your family.
Yeah, they love me being here, close to home, an hour and a half, so they come up and see me a lot. I go down. So they're as happy as I am that I'm here.
That's BYU redshirt sophomore wide receiver Reggie Frischknecht here on Cougar Sports Saturday. I'm really intrigued by Reggie. He's a big-bodied receiver, big catch radius. I think he's going to contribute. I think that the wide receivers right now for BYU, I think some of the top guys, JoJo Phillips, I think he's definitely one of the top guys, and I expect a big turnaround for JoJo this year. I think that Tay Nakua is stepping up in a bigger way for this BYU wide receiver unit. Reggie Frischknecht is in the mix. And then a true freshman that anyone you talk to around practices, whether it's players, coaches, former players, people around the program, They love what they're seeing from true freshman legend Glasker, cousin to linebacker Isaiah Glasker. Last season, he was at Lehigh High School. Wears number 88. He's a playmaker, and I think legend Glasker is going to be a really good player for BYU immediately this season and the years to come, but he will be a name to watch. And like many BYU recruits, 3-star recruit, not much hype, not much buzz, but they can be a good fit at BYU and get the most out of their talents, and I think he's going to be an impactful player. I'm also curious, too, to see maybe how Tiger Bachmeier improves in his second season in the offense. It was up and down last year. He never really got going last season. Didn't have that momentum and really much targets last year from his brother in this offense a season ago. Tiger Bachmeier, kind of the elder statesman in the group. He's the one senior in this wide receiver unit. So that's a check-in on BYU's wide receivers. And again, appreciate Reggie Frischnecht for spending some time with me. Let's check in on some college basketball as we're winding down in the NCAA tournament. We're getting closer to establishing the Final Four. Was the Big 12 a bust this year? Let's talk about it next here on Cougar Sports Saturday.
Since 1947, Whipple Service Champions has been Utah's most trusted name for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical services. Got a high-priced repair bill from another company and you're just not sure about it? Call Whipple. Get a free, no-pressure estimate or bring us their quote for an honest second opinion. Totally free. Whipple Service Champions, Utah's first place for second opinions since 1947. Call 385-273-7167 for your free estimate today. 385-273-7167.
Pet owners and parents know the struggle. Every time dogs or kids go outside, they track mud right back in. If you're tired of scrubbing floors, you need Muddy Mat, the anti-mud mat that cleans paws and shoes before they ruin your home. Only Muddy Mat features thousands of ultra-soft microfibers that are 5 times more absorbent than ordinary mats, instantly trapping dirt and water to protect your floors. Put it by every door, under pet bowls, in the kitchen for spills. It even makes a perfect bath mat, and it's 100% machine washable, so cleanup is effortless.
Since getting Muddy Mat, I don't worry about what my dog gets into. His paws are clean the second he steps off.
No more mopping. I love it. Thank you, Muddy Mat.
Right now, get a free medium Muddy Mat of $50 savings with your order of 2 or more mats at buymuddymat.com. This offer is only available at buymuddymat.com. That's BUYMUDDMAT.com. Don't wait. Get your free Muddy Mat today at buymuddymat.com.
You're the gatekeeper of green, the master of mowing, the wizard of watering schedules. When it comes to your lawn, power moves are the only moves you make. That's why you use IFA's 4+ Lawn Care program, with nutrients blended for greener, healthier turf in our local soil. IFA's 4+ Lawn Care program. It's the ultimate lawn owner power move.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877 Cars for Kids to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877 Cars for Kids to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
Ready for your next vehicle? At Performance Automotive in Bountiful, your new Ford, Toyota, or Honda is here. Built for Utah communities, Canyon weekends, and everything in between. Choose capability with Ford, long-lasting reliability with Toyota, or smooth efficiency with Honda. Backed by friendly experts and financing options that fit your budget. Visit Performance Ford, Performance Toyota, and Performance Honda for your test drive. Browse inventory, check pricing, and schedule your visit at performancebountiful.com. Performance Automotive in Bountiful, driven to be the best.
I want more from my checking account.
That's why I have Dream Rewards checking from Cyprus Credit Union. I earn points for making everyday purchases, paying my loans, even building my savings. Those points get me awesome rewards like cash back, gift cards, travel, and more. I'm making my everyday spending work for me. Learn more at cypruscu.com.
Cyprus Credit Union, your future is our future.
Insured by NCUA.
The Salt Lake Chamber is Utah's voice for business. Okay, that sounds great, but what does it really mean? Well, as Utah's largest and longest-standing business association, they support and champion community prosperity throughout the state. And if you're in business, well, that's a very good thing for you. Be sure to listen to the Chamber's Speaking on Business, weekdays at 7:20, 11:55, and 5:20 p.m. on KSL News Radio.
Trying to make sense of the markets? Looking to diversify out of all the craziness? Thinking about tangible assets like precious metals? Listen to The Gold Show with Kenny Michaels right here on KSL at 3 p.m. Sunday afternoons. Stay up to date on retirement trends, how the IRA rollover process works, and why investors are turning to physical gold. Kenny is a national talk show host with decades of experience in the markets. Tune in for Kenny's Insights and The Gold Show this Sunday afternoon at 3.
Whenever I hear this song, I think of that one viral LSU kid who was dancing. I can't remember. He used to be popular on TikTok. Cade Sourage or... Anyway, I always hear that. I think of him jumping off steps at some movie theater with his buddy. He's an LSU fan. Anyway, I digress. That's where my mind goes when I hear certain songs. BYU Cougar Sports Saturday here on KSL News Radio. The NCAA tournament's rolling on, and BYU, of course, long gone from the big dance. It's a shame. It's supposed to be the year, right? This is supposed to be the year where BYU's playing for a chance to go to the Final Four today. Oh, no. No, sir. Not happening. Early exit, round of 64. Hey, Texas, though, they made a run. They nearly got the Elite Eight, so I guess that's maybe, a saving grace. Like, hey, you lost to a decent team. Texas was good, but BYU still should have been a lot better. But what I'm bringing up now is BYU's shortcomings. Houston came up short. They lost in the Sweet 16. Kansas lost in the round of 32 to St. John's. Iowa State lost last night to Tennessee. The Big 12 only has one team left. They had 8 bids to the NCAA tournament. Only one team reached the Elite Eight, and that's the Arizona Wildcats, who looked outstanding. And I kind of wonder myself, going into today's game against Purdue, how can they follow up a 109-point performance? They were perfect. I feel like there's a little bit of a letdown going to happen. And look, Tommy Lloyd kind of linked to that North Carolina job. Does he leave? Is he maybe distracted? Is there some back channeling happening? I don't know. We shall see out in San Jose today. But it makes me wonder, was the Big 12 a bust this year? They were awesome in non-conference play. The head-to-head numbers against the SEC, the Big 12 annihilated the SEC. Big 10, it was more a toss-up in non-conference, but I believe the Big 12 still had a slight winning percentage over the Big 10. But the Big 10's got 4 teams in the Elite Eight, half the remaining teams left. I kind of feel like you got to default and say Big 10's the best league in college basketball this year. Big 12 is super competitive, and you can't ignore the injuries to Richie Saunders, JT Toppin with Texas Tech. Texas Tech experienced what BYU went through last year against Alabama, an onslaught of threes. BYU gave up 25 threes to Alabama last year in the Sweet 16. The Crimson Tide had 19 made threes against Texas Tech. They feel your pain. Wreck them. And then last night, Iowa State was without Joshua Jefferson, so the Big 12 got hit with superstar injuries that really derailed some of these teams. But as we know, when it comes to BYU, even with Richie Saunders, there were some issues with this BYU team. They lost to Oklahoma State. We all saw that with our own eyes. So it's not like if Richie was playing for BYU that, they would have been in the Elite Eight. I think that the Big 12 disappointed again. Hopefully Arizona can win it all for the league. And put some respect on the Big 12's name still, because I think people will ultimately forget all the path to getting to the national title. They won't remember the nuances of, bowing out in the Sweet 16. You'll just say the Big 12 produced the most recent national champion. And that could very well happen. I just kind of wonder, though, with Arizona today, after such a great performance, I just kind of assume the law of averages kick in and say you're going to have a little bit of a letdown. And Purdue didn't play that great in their win over Texas. It took to the final horn to get a dub. And I feel like they're going to play a little bit better because Purdue's been really good. And Arizona, let's call it what it is, they choke in this tournament. They haven't been to the Final Four since 2001, which is crazy because that is such a great program in history at Arizona. But it's been a quarter century since they've been to the Final Four. Coincidentally, last time they won a national title, 1997, that too, like this year, in Indianapolis. So Arizona will look to carry the Big 12 flag in the big dance today and for the remainder of the NCAA tournament. BYU basketball, it was cool to see the men's basketball team showing support for the women's basketball team. Shout out to Lee Kumard and his group, 25-11. They're still playing. They took down Stanford to advance in the WBIT Final Four. It's going to be out there in Wichita, Kansas. But the WBIT was basically the second best postseason tournament option. It's NCAA sanctioned, kind of like the NIT in men's basketball. Lee Kumard's team, the number 1 overall seed, they've got a chance to win the whole thing. They're going to be out in Wichita. They'll play on Monday against the Kansas Jayhawks at 3 p.m., a chance for a revenge opportunity because they got blown out by the Jayhawks earlier this year in Lawrence. But shout out to Lee Kumard's team for getting 20 to 25 wins this year in year one. It kind of begs the question, why on earth did BYU even bother hiring the former coach Whiting over Lee Kumard to begin with? It made no sense, honestly. It was such an easy hire to say, go with Lee Kumard. And look, maybe credit to him for staying patient and just staying part of the program because he loves BYU, but it never made any sense to not just, hey, that Judkins guy, he was really good. Why not keep this thing going with Kumard? Anyway, men's basketball was there supporting the women's team. They were on the front row. AJ even made some national news with him being on the front row in the Rock, taunting some of the Stanford team. I thought that was kind of fun to see. AJ has just immersed himself as a BYU guy. And wouldn't it be amazing if he ran it back? Again, I don't believe it. Like, to me, it's like, AJ, don't even think twice, man. Go to the NBA, go be the number 1 pick, be the man, because let me tell you, you come back, we'd all love it. He'd be the biggest name in college basketball next year. He would be a superstar, and he could still make a ton of money through Fanatics, through Red Bull. As he said, Red Bull gives you wings. I'm sure they'll give him a lot of cash, too. But at the same time, you come back to BYU, the scouts are not going to look at necessarily your potential. They're almost going to poke holes at the flaws. Like, oh, you had a performance where you weren't efficient. Maybe you aren't the number 1 pick. Look, I think he's generational. I think he's only going to get better in the NBA, and the spacing in that league and how big the paint is and just the shooters that he will have around him, AJ will be outstanding in the NBA. Because, again, you come back to the Big 12 and BYU, which, man, the idea of AJ and Bruce Branch together, goodness gracious, that would be potent, man. I almost don't want to think about it because I get too excited at that thought. But I think that AJ, it makes no sense to run it back because, like, we all watch the games. The whistle is not in AJ's favor in college basketball. The guy gets contact every single time down the floor, and there were many games to the point where Kevin Young was even frustrated complaining about the refs in some of the post games. AJ just doesn't get the whistle. In the NBA, he's getting that whistle. The way that he plays, he's getting that whistle. He's going to get the superstar treatment in the NBA. The way that he goes about his business, he's going to live at the line in the NBA. But hey, we'll see. We'll continue to monitor what ultimately is AJ's move officially because, again, he has not made a formal announcement yet, and he's left it open that he hasn't made a decision. I asked him in Portland last week, was that your final game as a BYU Cougar? He said, I don't know how to answer that yet. So we'll see when he makes that formal announcement what his official decision will be. No formal announcements really from anyone, though, on BYU's roster yet, whether they're going into the portal or not. The portal won't officially open for basketball until April 7th, and it will go for 2 weeks from April 7th to April 21st. And portal season, one of my favorite times of the year. I love the player movement. It's going to be a lot of fun, and BYU will look to build up its roster for year 3 under Kevin Young. Let's take a break. On the other side, get to know new BYU cornerback Javen Williams from Stark Vegas to Provo. It's a big change from Mississippi State, the SEC, to the Big 12 in Provo. Let's talk with Javen Williams next here on Cougar Sports Saturdays with kickoff hour number 2.
From ABC News, I'm Chuck Severson. The Iran war widens with now the Iran-backed Houthi rebels claiming a missile launch that Israel said it shot down. The Houthis have weapons that can target commercial shipping in the Red Sea, says former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for the Middle East, Mick Mulroy, who was also concerned about an Iranian group claiming it hacked Kash Patel's personal emails from before he became FBI director.
The Iranians have a very sophisticated cyber operation, and it wasn't just Director Patel that was targeted. Many have been targeted around, especially around D.C. People that are involved in policy, obviously politicians.
Reza Pahlavi, the son of the former Shah of Iran, living in exile in the U.S., has a message for America, speaking at the annual convention of the Conservative Political Action Committee in Grapevine, Texas, near Dallas.
What we ask of America now is simple. Stay the course. Do not throw this crumbling regime a lifeline. Pave the way for the Iranian people to finish the job. Thank you.
The audience chanted King Reza Pahlavi.
No kings!
No kings! One of thousands of No Kings protests taking place across the U.S. today. The protesters oppose what they call authoritarianism under President Trump. Co-president of Public Citizen, which is part of a coalition of organizers, Lisa Gilbert.
We have a record number of events, 3,300 around the country. To put that in perspective, there are only 3,150 counties in the whole nation. So there will be an event literally anywhere that you could hope to attend one.
No sign of a breakthrough to fund the Department of Homeland Security and end the partial government shutdown. The House passed a bill that goes to the Senate, but Democrats oppose it, and the Senate is in a 2-week recess. Major effects include no pay for TSA officers, many calling in sick, and long lines at airports. You're listening to ABC News.
Offer not valid in all states or were prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, our credit card bill came and it's higher than last month.
How? We haven't charged anything.
Paying the minimum isn't enough. It will keep getting higher until we take control. We need to go to 47fastcash.com.
With our bad credit?
47fastcash.com can help any credit type get approved for up to $5,000 in minutes.
Take control and get the money you need at 47fastcash.com. 47fastcash.com.
I've been telling you all about the secret war on our cash and the free report you can receive a copy of by contacting Swiss America at 800-289-2646. I'd also like to encourage you to subscribe to their podcast on YouTube. Just search Swiss America Trading. The podcast can provide you a ton of vital information and financial news in the challenging and uncertain times we're in. Subscribe today. Learn more about BRICS, industry leaders, and their market predictions for the future, along with what you might expect to see in terms of precious metal performance in the weeks and months ahead. Message and data rates may apply.
Good afternoon. It's 1:03 at KSL News Radio. I'm Isabella Sosa. KSL's top local story this hour. A longtime movie theater in Payson has a new mission. Stadium Cinemas has been revamped and is now called Wayfarer Theaters after Illinois billionaire Steve Sarowitz bought and renovated the theater. Sarowitz told KSL TV that his Baha'i faith inspires him to showcase positive films in the theater.
Films that show the spiritual virtues, such as love and compassion and mercy and justice, they don't have to be perfectly squeaky clean. You know, there can be some swearing, there can be some violence, there can be some sadness, but we really want to uplift humanity.
Sarowitz also owns Wayfarer Studios, which has produced more than a dozen films in the last few years. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The partial government shutdown is still affecting the nation's airports, with travelers facing another weekend of long security lines. ABC's Mola Lengi is at Baltimore Washington International Airport with the latest on the TSA situation.
They're now being told that they'll receive those payments starting Monday. But at the nation's airports so far, Thursday was the worst day in terms of TSA agents calling out of work. TSA officers, nearly 3,500 of them called out of work. Several major airports nearly paralyzed by that.
Some airports have had more than 40% of their workers call out. Coming up, a warm day. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 105.
Imagine a world where you can leave the house and take your home Wi-Fi speeds with you. Thanks to Xfinity Mobile, it's not just a fantasy. Just picture it. You're at your kid's soccer practice, streaming the other game in 4K. Just like that. In the airport, download a cozy family comedy in a snap with Wi-Fi Power Boost. What if the places you had to be felt more like everywhere you wanted to be? That's the magic of Xfinity Mobile. Reliable Wi-Fi and 5G when you need it. Xfinity. Imagine that. Cut your mobile bill in half with 2 lines of unlimited. Visit xfinitymobile.com to learn more. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet required. Savings based on promotional rate for 2 lines of Xfinity Mobile Unlimited versus regular rates for 2 lines of T-Mobile Experience More, Verizon Unlimited Plus, and AT&T Starter as of 2/10/26. Taxes, fees, extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Xfinity. Imagine that.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. A couple things happening right now. A crash northbound I-15 as you reach Bangor Highway is blocking the right shoulder, and there are some slowdowns there. Up in Roy, a crash northbound I-15 near Hill Air Force Base is causing stop-and-go traffic. Head to Logan for ice cream, honey, cookies, and cheese on our foodie trek. Ski or rent snowmobiles, see a live performance, cowboy poetry in March, baby animal days in April. ExploreLogan.com. Today's high is 78 with a low of 45 and a 10% chance of rain. Right now, it's partly cloudy and 64 degrees. I'm Isabella Sosa, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's Cougar Sports Saturday.
Touchdown! Stayed inside the boundary and gets in for 6.
Cougar Sports Saturday, a presentation of KSL Sports.
Ritchie right to the rim, driving score!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Here's your host, Mitch Harper, on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Hour number 2 is off and running here on KSL News Radio. Cougar Sports Saturday. Every Saturday, we're talking BYU sports throughout the offseason. Maybe next week, though, we will take a break because General Conference for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints will take over the airwaves next weekend here on the show, but then we'll be back 2 weeks from now, and we'll close things out with spring football and get ready really to settle into the offseason. We'll have portal talk. We'll have so much to get to every single week here on the legacy home of the Cougars. And yesterday at BYU spring practice at the Zions Bank practice fields, had the chance to catch up with Mobile, Alabama native Javen Williams. Javen hasn't been talked about much in this transfer portal class because BYU, of course, at cornerback returns Evan Johnson, who I believe could be one of the best cornerbacks in the Big 12 this year. Evan was fantastic, 5 interceptions a season ago. They also returned Therian Trey Alexander, who enters his junior season. He's going to be a starter. So it begs the question, why would a grad transfer from Mississippi State, who really doesn't have many connections at all to BYU, want to spend his last season of college football with the BYU program? So I asked Javen Williams, how his first spring is going in Provo. And here's my conversation with BYU's newest cornerback, Javen Williams.
It's been great. Just all the guys bringing me in, like family, and, all the coaches, being great guys, and everybody just being able to take me in, and also calling plays from Coach Pop, new scheme and stuff, but kind of the same thing. So just getting used to the plays, balling out, having fun with the guys, and just going out there and being able to compete every day. That's just the funnest part to me.
Can you just take us through the steps from Mobile, Alabama, now to BYU and everything in between, the steps that led you here to BYU?
It's been a pretty lengthy process. Coming out of high school, I obviously started off at Kennesaw State University, and from Kennesaw State University, I made the jump to Mississippi State, and now I'm here at BYU. So it's been a pretty lengthy process, but found my home finally, and just glad to be here.
Home, you found your home here. What made this home for you then?
Just the culture, just the way Coach Kalani makes sure everything is ran. Just everybody's on one page, and everybody's a family. So that's what made me come here, and everybody's just together. So you can't ask for more than that. Family's the biggest part you can take with you in life, and that's what I'm here doing, making a family. So
you bring up Kalani. How much contact did you have with him when you were in the portal, considering your options? How much were you talking with Kalani?
Ever since BYU got on me, Kalani made it real clear that this is a family, and he's going to talk to you every day, not just because he's the head coach, but because he wants you here, and he wants everybody to, be together. And he's going to talk to you just like, your dad talks to you. So we love Kalani.
What was the portal process like this past cycle when knowing that, you're entering your senior year? What were you looking to identify beyond maybe the family, but on the on-field perspective? What were the biggest keys for you in that process?
The biggest keys for me on the field was just being able to come somewhere where I can, make an impact. We have two other great corners, Trey and Shmev. Just being along with them, learning from them, and just being able to come and make an impact. That's what I really wanted coming in from the portal. So I think that's what we're going to get to. So I'm loving it so far.
What's been your impressions of the talent at a place like BYU? And I ask that because you've seen the grind of SEC football. What's just your impressions of the talent in this team?
I think the talent is really overlooked here. We have a lot of talent, so I think it's really overlooked, and I think we have a lot of guys that are going to be playmakers that people aren't really expecting to be playmakers. So I think those guys are going to show up this year and surprise some people.
What do you feel like you bring to the cornerback unit? You noted Trey and Shmev, guys that are returning, but what do you feel like you bring to this cornerback unit that maybe was missing or something that you can add to this group?
I feel I'm an older guy, knowing that, just knowing I've been around the game for a little minute, helping younger guys out in our room also, and also learning from Trey and Shmev. So learning from them just helped me propel my game further as I wanted to go. And, we all just on one accord, so the sky's the limit for the cornerback room. And me coming in as an older guy, just, bringing wisdom and knowledge. And that's what I'm here to do, and make some plays.
How much are you enjoying Provo? Lifestyle here in Provo, I got to imagine it's different than Starkville or Mobile, Alabama. Just your initial impressions of Provo.
It's definitely great. I love it. I'm loving everything about Provo. I got to do some activities like hike the Y, do some stuff like that. But I'm loving Provo so far. Everything is great, so it's going pretty good.
How much are you loving this new defense that Kelly Papinga's running? I know you weren't part of the team last year, but just your thoughts on maybe what this defense can be in 2026.
In 2026, I think this defense could be a great thing, amazing thing. Some one of the top defenses that can go down in BYU's history for sure. There's a lot of playmakers. We brought a lot of guys in. Well, not a lot of guys in, but we brought some guys in that's gonna make plays. So I feel like, and then also too with Coach Pop calling the plays, he's calling some good plays. There's some different things that I'm new to from coming to a new school, but this hasn't been hard with me being a vet. So just going out there, doing my job, and learn from Coach Pop and all the other coaches. It's going to be pretty good.
Who have been some of the most challenging wide receivers to defend in during spring ball?
Some of the most challenging, I'll say JoJo and Casper, for sure. JoJo, Casper, and a young guy that's looking pretty good, Glasker for sure.
When I asked that too, just maybe can you speak to the competitiveness in spring ball with talent like yourself and just this entire team, how competitive it is? Just maybe describe just even though they're still months away from football, how competitive this team is.
I mean, it's been really competitive, like offense and defense side of the ball. And what I could speak on more for myself, just the wide receivers versus the DB, like JoJo, Casper, Glasker, all those guys, like me, Trey, Shmev, like we're just getting each other better, and we're just getting ready for the season. Just good on good, and that's all you can ask for.
Last thing for you, Javen, and appreciate the time. Just maybe your goals this season, personal and team, that you're hoping to achieve in this senior campaign.
Personal goal I have is I just want to grow my faith, get closer to God, be a better man, be a better husband, be a better son, and really another personal goal on the field I have is just doing whatever I can do to help the team. That's my personal goal.
Well, Javen, welcome to BYU and look forward to seeing you out there this season, and best of luck this year.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
That's BYU cornerback Javen Williams here on Cougar Sports Saturday. Javen, I think he could be that third cornerback for BYU. Again, they've got Evan Johnson, Trey Alexander. You've also got at cornerback, along with Javen Williams, you've got Jonathan Cabella, who, remember last year, was dealing with an injury that he suffered in fall camp, and it basically resulted in him redshirting last season. So he enters his redshirt sophomore year. You've also got Cannon DeVries and a youngster and redshirt freshman Jordan Chris, who I'm really high on. I think he's going to be a good player. Kevin Doe's in the mix too. It's a pretty good cornerback unit. But I think Javen Williams probably emerges because he's a veteran, as you heard. He's gone through some life experiences. I think that matters in a college locker room. I think he's going to be that third cornerback for BYU. Cabella could still play that nickel spot. And we're seeing with BYU's coaching staff, they got a lot of resources coaching up that secondary. You got DeMario Warren, former Boise State coach, former Southern Utah head coach. He's coaching as the passing game coordinator. Lewis Walker, he's coaching the cornerbacks. You got Danny Sorensen, Dirty Dan. He's helping as an assistant safeties coach. Like, a lot of manpower is being invested into that secondary, and for good reason. Because you lost Jay Hill, who coached the safeties. You lost Gavin Fowler, who also helped with the safeties. He's now the defensive coordinator at Weber State. And you lost Janelle Guilford, who went to Michigan. So if there was a drop-off at secondary, people would say, well, the old guard was the key to their success in the back end of that defense. So Kalani Sitake really staffed up in a big way with this secondary, and so did Kelly Papinga as well. And they're in a really good place, I think, with the coaching and then also the talent at that position. I think Javen Williams can really help. And I thought it was noteworthy, too, that he said that Kalani Sitake really wanted him. Kalani gets involved, of course, with these recruitments. No questions asked. He can be a bit of a closer. But a lot of it you typically hear from transfers is the position coaches ultimately, or a previous connection to that individual. But Kalani Sitake seeing something in Javen Williams that he would be a good fit, and you hear from him that he wants to utilize this opportunity to become closer with God. That's pretty cool. I mean, you're not going to hear that in many places. Typically, you're going to hear, we hear all the headlines of NIL and this and that, but at BYU, that sort of messaging, I think that enhances the culture of what Kalani Sitake is looking to have in his locker room. Let's take a break. On the other side, we'll get to some more BYU football talk and also touch in on some basketball talk as well, maybe some potential portal targets for Kevin Young as he builds out his team right here on Cougar Sports Saturday on KSL News Radio.
Jackson Hewitt will do your taxes for $149 or less, no matter how complicated. So if you're a delivery driver / handyman / wedding DJ, you pay only $149 or less. We're talking to you, waitress.
Check, please.
/ pet sitter / influencer. Just $149 or less. Want your refund to work as hard as you? Hurry. Don't wait. File with Jackson Hewitt today. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
Does your home have peeling paint or faded colors? Don't procrastinate. You need to protect your home with quality paint and a worry-free process, so make an appointment with CertaPro Painters. You quickly get a free estimate that's detailed, easy to understand, and then their trusted local professionals will bring fresh color to your home with quality craftsmanship at the right price. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated, so schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. CertaPro.com.
Febreze. New Febreze Air Mist has 50% more odor fighters and up to 30% more fragrance than the old formula. So now you can take on 100% more stinky odors, like sweaty gym bags, greasy cooking smells, and the after effects of the dog rolling around in something. Just spray, and new Febreze Air instantly restores just clean freshness. Smell you later, odor.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids. Rolaids' dual-active formula has calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. Yeah, you heard right. 2 actives for that powerful relief. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolade spells powerful relief. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370. 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
I didn't switch to Pure Talk just because I wanted to save 50% off the same 5G service I'd been paying twice as much for. I switched because I like the idea of being in business with a wireless company that supports our veterans in a meaningful way. Pure Talk also creates American jobs every day by keeping their entire operation in this country. I appreciate that. If you feel the same, dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term.
Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Welcome back into Cougar Sports Saturday here on KSL News Radio. We're in the off season of the football calendar where we're getting closer. We're working our way closer to another season of college football. BYU will kick off the 2026 campaign on September 5th against Utah Tech. And in the offseason, there's some S&P Plus ratings, which it's kind of like a predictive rating like we see in basketball with Ken Pom and Bart Torvik, things like that. S&P Plus, I think, is a really good rating system. Bill Connolly with ESPN, he puts this together. And this rating, he released his first installment for the 2026 season. BYU's initial rating for 2026 checks in at number 18. Not bad, honestly. I think that I'd take a starting position at number 18. Much better than being outside the top 25. And to be quite honest, I think when the preseason AP Top 25 poll is released in August, wouldn't shock me if BYU's anywhere from 15 to 20. Personally, I think there's an argument to be made that BYU should be in the top 10. I really do. I think that BYU, with a returning quarterback, with a much improved offensive line, with the reigning Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year, so much returning on defense, you've won 23 games the past 2 years. That's the makeup of a top 10 outlook in the preseason if we're trying to guess who are going to be the best teams. It's a difficult proposition anymore in college football. I think I don't want to say it's a little bit easier this year, but it might be just a little bit because we can actually get a clear sense of maybe what the personnel looks like, considering there's no spring transfer portal for football this year. Once the winter portal closed in January, these are the rosters. And personally, I wish there was another spring portal window because I'll tell you, I think BYU could have put this thing over the top from a personnel standpoint and plug just some of the small holes that this team has in spring ball, fill the gap slightly, and work your way from there if there was a spring portal window. But again, we know who the personnel these teams are going to have. It's a matter of keeping them healthy. And if they say healthy, we pretty much know the rosters of what these teams are going to look like. And BYU checks in at number 18 in the S&P Plus ratings. Of note for BYU, with these S&P Plus ratings, again, it's a predictive system. It factors in returning production, recent history, recent recruiting, and coaching change effects. The recent recruiting piece, you would look at that and say, well, that's what's going to sink BYU. I think it's noteworthy, though, that Bill Connolly, in his rating, he noted that a decade or so ago, that piece made up about 20 to 25% of his preseason formula. Now it's only 1 to 2%. And I think that's important to note because simply saying a team is great because of their high school recruiting rankings is silly. We all know, following BYU sports, that hasn't always been the case. Now, there are some players that get a bump. There have been some guys, even this past recruiting cycle, someone like a Ty Getch who's out on a mission from Colorado. He went from a 3-star when he committed to BYU to a 4-star. So this isn't universal, but think about Ryder Lyons, who's currently serving a mission for the church in Orlando, Florida, Spanish-speaking. He was the Gatorade Player of the Year in California this past year, yet he dropped from a 5-star to a 4-star. Why? He was the Gatorade Player of the Year. Why did he drop to a 4-star? But BYU's team recruiting rankings have not been viewed as great by the recruiting services. And BYU has so many more buckets to pull from in building out their roster that BYU is honestly a team that's hard to calculate in these simple formulas because they've got return missionary bucket to pull from that. How do you quantify a statistic from last year with an RM? You just don't. And they kind of get lost through the cracks in terms of returning production. And so it's very difficult to really kind of gauge BYU's talent. We all know that BYU's got a lot more talent than they get credit for. And I think that's one of the frustrating things about the optics of BYU and the Big 12 as a whole. This is a very good league that doesn't get enough respect for the quality and the depth in this conference because so many look at the star ratings and say, well, this isn't a talented enough football team. They're inferior to the SEC. My argument is always this. Like, have Alabama roll into Salt Lake or roll into Provo, roll into these Big 12 venues. Let's see if it's that easy. They don't do it because they can always have the narrative like they're always better because the star ratings always benefit them. And I love that BYU has Notre Dame coming to Provo because that game, I'm telling you, if that game lives up to the hype that we think it should, with both teams being maybe top 10, that is going to be an absolute banger of a game. Maybe one of the best games in the history of LaVell Edwards Stadium in terms of significance, in terms of what's on the line, the stakes, the national attention. That is going to be electric factory, man. BYU and Notre Dame, I cannot wait for that. And Notre Dame, in the S&P Plus ratings for 2026, they are ranked number 1. And I hope that Notre Dame is viewed as the number 1 team in the country. Can you imagine BYU taking on the number 1 team in the country in Provo? I mean, I'm instantly having thoughts of 1990 Miami. Then, of course, there was 2004 USC. That 2004 USC game, that wasn't great. Even though BYU hung in that first half against the Reggie Bushes, the Matt Leinerts, when USC was USC, still, that wasn't as much aura as facing 1990 Miami when they were the U. Like, yes, Miami was awesome last year, national championship game appearance, but the U was the U in the early 90s. They had documentaries about that group, and BYU took those guys down. You get in the LaVell Edwards Stadium, it's a tough place to win. And many teams have just ducked BYU for many years, and I love the idea that BYU is going to get a chance to face these teams. Returning production for Notre Dame is number 1. Ohio State number 1, and also S&P Plus ratings too. So number 3, Notre Dame as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun. See how this season kind of comes together for BYU, but a lot of preseason expectations and hype for the Cougars in 2026. Checking in at number 18 in the way too early S&P Plus ratings for the preseason as the offseason rolls on. Let's take a break. We'll get to some more football talk next.
Andy, I like that shirt. Is that a new shirt?
It is. It's from Ann Collar, and it's really rare to find a shirt that looks good and is super comfortable. And this is a fabric unlike anything I've ever felt.
I got one for my husband and my sons, and they watching my 19-year-old put on the Ann Collar shirt and sort of check himself out in the mirror. I thought, wow, he's really digging that. And I can understand why, because it's not just comfortable, it's stain repellent, which I needed.
Oh, my goodness.
Because,
something.
He attracts spaghetti sauce to shirts like you would not believe. And with these Ann Collar shirts, I can get it out.
I have to wear a special bib when I eat spaghetti with a white shirt on. But with Ann Collar shirts, it takes those little tiny nicks and stains, and they don't stick to you. Yeah, you don't have to dump a bucket of stuff on you, but it would repel that too.
You've got to try one. So whether it's the traditional white shirt or any of the patterns they have, it's Ann Collar, and they're made right here in Utah.
If you've never tried Ann Collar before, we have got permission to give you 15% off at AnnCollar.com and go get your first. Use the code KSL15.
That's Ann Collar, ANDCollar.com.
I didn't switch to Pure Talk just because I wanted to save 50% off the same 5G service I'd been paying twice as much for. I switched because I like the idea of being in business with a wireless company that supports our veterans in a meaningful way. Pure Talk also creates American jobs every day by keeping their entire operation in this country. I appreciate that. If you feel the same, dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term.
Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Good afternoon. It's 1:32 at KSL News Radio. I'm Isabella Sosa. KSL's top local story this hour. Today and tomorrow, you might want to avoid Bangerter Highway. The highway will be closed from 7800 to 90th South for major repair work involving a Rio Tinto water pipe.
Last May, there was a dump truck that went through with a raised bed, and it ran into a Rio Tinto pipe. The closure is going to allow Rio Tinto time to come in and repair the pressure water pipe.
UDOT spokesman John Gleason says it serves as a reminder for drivers to make sure they have proper clearance. Bangerter Highway sees 60,000 vehicles every day. The road is planned to open again early Monday. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Hackers have breached the FBI director's personal email account.
A suspected Iranian hacking group is claiming responsibility for breaching FBI Director Kash Patel's personal email. Sources tell ABC News most of the emails and photos that were breached and posted online were from prior to 2019. The FBI says it's taking steps to mitigate the risks of the breach, and no government information was involved. Sources say the group that is claiming responsibility has stepped up its efforts since the Iran war began.
That's ABC's Whit Johnson. Coming up, the warm before the storm. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 1:33.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you have a drain that's clogged or backed up, after you've tried the plungers and products, the next step usually involves some kind of drain snake or cabling equipment. You see, sometimes the blockage is far enough down the line that you need special equipment that most homeowners just don't have. That's where the Drains Department at Any Hour Services can help. A drain snake can clear most blockages and get the water flowing again, and clearing blocked drains is what our Drains Department does day in and day out. So if you're a homeowner with a drain line that's clogged or backed up and you'd like one of our drain technicians to come and snake the line for you, it's only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
More than 50 million Americans suffer from a form of mental illness.
And Utah isn't immune, with nearly 1 in 3 people dealing with anxiety, depression, or another form of mental illness.
But there's hope. We can all take action to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe.
That's why KSL has teamed with the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation to bring you hope and help you thrive.
It's Healthy Mind Matters.
Find out more at healthymindmatters.com. A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. That crash northbound I-15 as you reach Bangerter Highway is still blocking the right lane and shoulder, causing significant delays. And then up in Roy, a crash northbound I-15 near Hill Air Force Base is still causing stop-and-go traffic. Highs the next couple of days will be in the 70s. Starting Tuesday, it'll go down to the 50s and 60s the rest of the week with showers on and off. Right now, it's partly cloudy and 66 degrees. I'm Isabella Sosa, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's Cougar Sports Saturday.
Touchdown! Stayed inside the boundary and gets in for 6.
Cougar Sports Saturday, a presentation of KSL Sports.
Richie right to the rim, driving score!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Here's your host, Mitch Harper, on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Welcome back into Cougar Sports Saturday, KSL News Time, 1:36 p.m. Here on the final Saturday in March. Next week on Friday, it's going to be the BYU football alumni game. No spring game, of course. Those days are completely numbered. We haven't seen a spring game from BYU football in a long time. I will say there was a open spring practice in 2023. Remember, that was televised. The last 2 times BYU's had some sort of spring practice that was televised and put on TV, BYU had losing records those years. So maybe there's good karma in not having a spring game at all. I think also, too, there was one year in 2019 where Jaron Hall was letting it fly when Zach Wilson was banged up and recovering. But the alumni game, shockingly, has become a quality event in the spring time for BYU and BYU football. It's the 5th consecutive year where BYU is going to have an alumni game. Remember back when this thing got started was 2022, and it ended on an epic final play of the game. Max Hall connects on a deep ball with Brian Keel to win it, walk off. So awesome. That was pretty fun. And then in 2023, it was not as dramatic. Yes, it did end on a final play. I think it was Spencer White who stepped in on short notice for Andrew Rich, and I think he was wearing Andrew Rich's jersey. He comes up with the pick, and I just remember Kyle Vanoy, who was the sideline reporter for the broadcast, he goes up to Spencer White, and he was interviewing him as Andrew Rich. But that was a fun game. I think that was Ty Detmer versus John Beck. I remember, too, Max Hall sadly got an injury in that game. And then 2024, that was at the old Provo High. Steve Young made a cameo. It was Riley Nelson versus Jake Heaps. Drama, baby. I loved it. 2010 quarterback battle relived. And I think Riley Nelson came out on top. Max Hall returned. I don't think he played, but he was back there with the group. And then last year, Team Navy beat Team Royal. I think Brian Keel had a big play in that one as well. So he's been a fixture in these games. And that brings us to next week's alumni game, 5th year of the alumni game. And I talked about it earlier. Team Royal will be coached by Norm Chow. So Norm Chow is finally going to be the head coach at BYU. We're going to see it. Finally. Remember, he was once the head coach at Hawaii. He went up against BYU in 2012. That was Taysom Hill's first ever start. That wasn't great. On the opposite sideline will be national champion winning quarterback Robbie Bosco. He will lead Team Navy. So on Norm Chow's Team Royal squad, here's some of the names. Charlie Peterson at quarterback. How about this one? John Walsh. John Walsh making a return. That's going to be kind of cool to see John Walsh return. John Walsh is kind of an interesting study in BYU history because he left BYU after his junior season in 1994, and that created an opportunity for Steve Sarkisian, now the head coach at Texas, to become the quarterback one at BYU. Had John Walsh stayed, Steve Sarkisian was going to go to Kansas State and be the quarterback for the K-State Wildcats, which then he closed out his BYU career taking down K-State. Weird how that works. Let's see, other quarterbacks on these rosters here. Team Navy's quarterbacks, so the quarterbacks that Robbie Bosco is going to have. Jake Heaps making his return. He'll be back. And then also, trying to see some of the names. Brandon Dillman, also going to be quarterback as well. So maybe the headliners are the coaches, per se, Norm Chow and Robbie Bosco, but some other names that caught my attention. You've got Micah Hanneman on Team Royal, Neil Pau, Aleva Hefo, Kaina Kua. Kaina Kua is absolute stud, one of the great safeties in BYU football history. He's returning. Byron Rex, one of the great tight ends in BYU history. Jamal Willis, an outstanding running back. Harvey Longy, Dylan Colley, Fahu Tahi, Brian Keel running it back one more time. I saw Brian Keel at a kids' bantam basketball. It's crazy now. I'm in that age group where I'm in the same circles as these former BYU players, and we're all going to basketball games now, and I'm like, yeah, I'm getting really old. I'm getting up there in age. Like, I'm becoming that dude that I once thought, man, those people are so old going to kids' basketball games. I'm now that guy. I'm getting pretty old. Don't look as great as Brian Keel, though. I think he was the first man that I ever saw with a Tesla. That was like in 2015. I was like, I should give him his props next week. I say, you know what? You were the first man that ever had a Tesla. Team Navy, Jake Heaps, Brandon Dillman, some other names that caught my attention. Cody Hoffman. I've seen him at kids' basketball games, too, in circles like that. Again, it's always kind of fun for me to, like, it's one of my weird abilities in life. Like, if I told someone, like, if I got asked, what's your superhuman power? I have this weird ability to, like, recognize faces in a crowd. And I'll see people, and it's like, oh, yeah, that's former BYU, this and that. Steve Clements, he's another BYU quarterback that's going to be running it back. Steve Clements, I think he was a former Texas quarterback, transferred into BYU. Steve Clements, good quarterback coach, got a good eye for talent, so he's going to be running it back. He was in the late 80s with the BYU program. Reno Mahe, Peyton Wilgar. He was a great BYU linebacker in the early years of the Kalani Sitake era. Ben Bywater running it back. He was a stud for BYU before he suffered his shoulder injury. Butch Powell, Bronson Kafusi, Caleb Christensen, Austin Lee. I loved Austin Lee. He was such a good safety in those early years for Kalani Sitake. Harvey Unga as well. You know, one name we don't see is Kalani Sitake. The first year of the alumni game, we saw Kalani get a tote, get a carry. We need Kalani out there carrying the pill. We need to see him taking some carries in that backfield for Coach Chow and finally tell Coach Chow, hey, I'm more than just a fullback, Coach. I can be a featured running back. I know you got, Luke Staley, or actually, Chow didn't have Luke Staley. Chow was at NC State when Luke Staley arrived in 99. In 98, I think it was Ronnie Jenkins. You might have Ronnie Jenkins, but hey, I can still carry the rock. Kalani can say that to Coach Chow now. So it should be fun. It was cool last year, too. Norm Chow, he'd kick out of, some fall camp practices and show up. I think that's one thing that's been cool about Kalani Sitake's program. He's had this impressive ability to connect all the generations of BYU football. I was talking with a longtime former BYU assistant coach yesterday at practice, and he was just telling me how he just admires how Kalani's been able to, kind of connect with the Lavelle era so well. Because one, Kalani played for Lavelle, and Lavelle was his mentor, and Patty Edwards, the late great Patty Edwards, was his mentor as well. But no matter who you played for, whether it was Lavelle, whether it was Croton, Bronco, or Kalani, you're all part of the BYU football program. And that can be sometimes challenging, I think, for players that maybe didn't, if the coach that they played for, they don't maybe feel a connection to the current iteration of a program. Kalani is not about that. Like, he's a BYU man through and through. And even when he was at Utah or Oregon State, he was still watching BYU football from afar, and he knows of these BYU players when they were doing their thing at BYU, even when he was at opposing schools in the past. So they all feel welcome. And I think that's a cool aspect to Kalani's program that's important, because I think BYU's history matters a lot. The history of BYU football is a big piece to the success of BYU football. I really believe that. You look at the last 5 decades of BYU football, they win at an incredibly high level. It's top 10 in wins in college football nationally over the last 50 years. I mean, for 5 decades, BYU football, consistent winner. And a lot of that connectivity is through the history, the respect for the past, the greats that built this opportunity, this program, and have leveled it up as the years have gone by. And I think for the current program to know who some of these great players were and connect with these guys, and from a networking perspective, because many of these guys are very successful now in what they're doing as far as their careers. I think it's an important piece to honor that tradition. And BYU, I've always believed, has one of the great histories in college football. And what's amazing about BYU football history is that it's never been given anything. They've never been given you've been in the conference that just gets the benefit of the doubt all the time. They've had to earn everything they get. And even now in the Big 12, when we all thought and assumed naively, and I honestly believe that those issues would go out the window, but obviously the last 2 years have shown us that's not the case. They still have to earn and scratch and claw for everything that they get. And there's something to be said about that, because BYU has never been given, oh, you're BYU, yeah, you're going to go to the Bowl Alliance, you're going to go to the BCS, you're going to go to the playoff. Like, no, you got to break down the wall and force people to give you that chance. And that's the challenge in front of Kalani's program, to go actually break down that wall. I think connecting to that past and respecting that, I think, is an important part. And I think that these alumni games, I think, are pretty fun. So next Friday, April 3rd, 6 p.m. at Lavelle Edwards Stadium, they'll have the 5th annual alumni game. I vaguely remember there was like an alumni game at halftime of a spring game, I think in the late 90s, early 2000s. But annually, this alumni game is now kind of a thing that's replacing the spring game for BYU and its fans to get inside Lavelle's house, Lavelle Edwards Stadium, and go enjoy some BYU football in the spring. Let's take a break. Coming up around the corner, we will be joined by a former BYU great, Hans Olsen. He'll join us at the top of the hour. Coming up next, we'll talk BYU hoops as A.J. Dubonsa is a finalist for one of the most prestigious awards in college basketball. We'll hit on that next.
I'm Christian Staples with Arctic Spas. Spring is here, and that means pool time is here. No one makes it easier to have a pool in your backyard than Arctic Spas. We just need 2 days, and you can swim for exercise or enjoy family fun. Arctic Spa's all-weather pools continue to be fun all year round versus a regular pool which you can only use during the summer. We make it easy with maintenance-free filters, automatic natural salt water, and automatic pH control. No one wants to spend their time taking care of their pool. We just want to enjoy it, and that is what Water Care Automation is all about. If you're looking for a pool that is easy to install, easy to maintain, easy on the wallet, and you can use it year-round, look no further than Arctic Spa's all-weather pools. For more information, check us out at arcticspasutah.com or one of our 3 stores covering all of Utah in Salt Lake, American Fork, and St. George. Arctic Spa, the only spa built for Utah's harsh climate.
Gold demand is skyrocketing to record highs. As more Americans rush to preserve their savings, will there be enough gold? I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe physical gold is the only way to truly protect your 401k or IRA savings. Gold offers tangible security that can't be tracked, stolen, or inflated. That's why I strongly advocate for gold IRAs. To learn more, text the word SECURE to 989898 now. Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust, and their thousands of great reviews prove I'm not alone. So don't wait another second. Protect your retirement savings today and see how easy it is to move your IRA or 401k into physical precious metals. Text SECURE to the number 989898 for your free gold IRA info kit. Again, SECURE to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply.
Amanda, I've got a cruise planned in a couple of months, and I was thinking about the other people who may have cruises planned coming up a few months from now, and why right now would be the best time for them to begin their weight loss journey on Soda Weight Loss.
If you started right now, you could lose 20, 30, 40 pounds before June.
That's right.
I lost 37 pounds in 3 months, 3.5 years ago. And the beauty about soda is it's not a quick fix. This is learning that is going to last you the rest of your life and help you be healthy.
Your clothes fit better, your energy comes back, you don't get winded going upstairs.
Yeah.
Things that maybe you don't even realize. When I let go of 70 pounds in 5 months, it felt like a transformation.
You learn what works for your body so you don't get addicted to shots or drugs. You just work with a nutritionist who's going to teach you how to keep the weight off for a lifetime.
Right now, you should go check out sodaweightloss.com, see all the thousands of before and after pictures, or speak with a nutritionist by giving a call 866-800-SODA.
Soda Weight Loss. Join us for a short time to have results that last a lifetime.
Not sure how to tackle your taxes? Are you sweating the small print? You may be experiencing FOMO, the fear of messing up. The answer? Using TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it. With a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. It's time to take your taxes to the max. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Annie's first oil change wasn't as hard as she thought because she went to AutoZone, where a friendly AutoZoner helped her find the right oil and save on an oil filter. He explained the job and showed her free how-tos on AutoZone.com. When she was done, AutoZone recycled her old oil for free. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Guns, Rocky Mountain Gun Shows.
Don't miss the Rocky Mountain Gun Show Saturday and Sunday, March 28th and 29th at the Mountain America Expo Center in Sandy. Stock up on wholesale ammo now and take advantage of savings that won't last. Get 500 rounds of 9mm ammo for just $85 with no limit on quantity. It's the Rocky Mountain Gun Show, so you know it'll be good.
Rocky Mountain Gun Shows.
Since 1947, Whipple Service Champions has been Utah's most trusted name for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical services. Got a high-priced repair bill from another company and you're just not sure about it? Call Whipple. Get a free, no-pressure estimate or bring us their quote for an honest second opinion. Totally free. Whipple Service Champions, Utah's first place for second opinions since 1947. Call 385-273-7167 for your free estimate today. 385-273-7167.
Cougar Sports Saturday rolls on. Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll be joined by former BYU great and BYU Sports Network analyst Hans Olsen. We'll talk some spring football and check in with Hans, see how life's treating Hans here on Cougar Sports Saturday. BYU basketball, A.J. DeBonsa, he is one of 4 players that was named to the Naismith Award finalist. How awesome is that? A.J., not good enough for Big 12 Player of the Year, but he's in the running to be Naismith Award finalist, one of 4 players, alongside with AJ for the Naismith Award, which is basically the Heisman of college basketball. I think that's how significant the Heisman is. Like when you can just say it's the Heisman of this, it's the Heisman of this sport. The Naismith Award finalist, Cameron Boozer from Duke. I think he's going to win. Yaxel Lendenborg, Michigan. He's awesome. Remember there was a time when BYU was kind of linked to him potentially in the portal last spring coming out of UAB. There was a thought maybe BYU could get in the mix for Yaxel Lendenborg. Just imagine that thought right now. What if AJ and Yaxel had been on the same team? Whew. Goodness, that would have been amazing. And then rounding out the 4 finalists, Darius Acuff from Arkansas. He was a stud. I loved watching Darius Acuff. Getting the chance to watch him in person in Portland last week at the NCAA tournament, that was awesome. I mean, I personally think, look, I'm biased a little bit because I got the chance to watch AJ every step of the way and see his improvement from game 1 to his final game against Texas. I think there was no question he was the best player in college basketball. And the fact that he wasn't the Big 12 Player of the Year was nuts. Jaden Bradley from Arizona, who, again, Jaden Bradley, dog. Like, that dude brought it, and he was kind of the heartbeat of the best team in the Big 12. But the best player, hands down in the Big 12, was A.J. DeBonsa. And I think Cameron Boozer is really good. Like, the floor for Boozer is incredibly high, and he always wins. Like, that's the cliche with him. He's won everywhere he's been, and he's got Duke in the position to 1 game away from the Final Four. They're going to take on UConn tomorrow. But I just think AJ, man, best player in the land this year. I don't think he's going to win that award, though. I think it's going to probably be Boozer. Maybe Yaxel Lendenborg. But I think it should be, personally, DeBonsa or Darius Acuff. That would be my personal ballot if I had one to vote on the Naismith Award. BYU's had 2 players in its history win the Naismith Award. Danny Ainge and Jimmer Fredette. So 2 guys in BYU's history have won the most prestigious award in college basketball, and AJ a finalist for the award. And anyone that suggests, because I know the trendy question for the end of this season for BYU is, what was the return on investment? Was it really worth it, BYU? Yes. And look, I know that for these programs like Duke, the return on investment for a guy like Boozer has got to be probably a national title. For a program like Kentucky was an alleged $20 million roster. Again, people throw out these numbers like it's complete fact. I always just point to pump the brakes on that because the whole $7 million number on AJ was from some guy out on the East Coast. And everyone just then said, that's the number. And they've just kind of taken that as fact when his representation has said BYU's number was less than that. Anyway. But Kentucky spent a lot on its roster. BYU spent a lot on its roster. Kentucky, the return on investment, not great because they expect national championships. They've got a history and a pedigree of national championships. BYU, the return on investment with AJ absolutely was fantastic. One, from a business perspective, the Marriott Center was sold out every single night. So from business, it was great. But long term, you don't get Bruce Branch, who's also a blue chip recruit and could be a top 5 NBA draft pick in 2027. You don't get him without the proof of concept that A.J. DeBonsa delivered. If you are a future NBA stud, you can dial up AJ and say, hey, is it smart playing for Kevin Young? Like, is it what made you go play for KY? And he'll lay it out to you and say all the reasons. It was absolutely worth it because AJ got clearly better as a player, and he was, in my opinion, the nation's best player, and he goes beyond scoring too. AJ is ready for the NBA, and that is where the supposed ROI, was it worth it? Absolutely is worth it because AJ's arrival changed the narrative and the game from a recruiting perspective for BYU because, honestly, going forward, I think KY, because of the success of AJ, and to a lesser extent, Yegor Dielman, you are now going to be able to, I don't want to say convince, but pursue blue-chip NBA one-and-done type players every single recruiting cycle and then pair them up with big-time portal guys, hopefully some RMs, and have a nice balance on the roster to go build out a team. I like the roster construction of this year's team. It just didn't materialize. There were some misevaluations on some guys. Some guys got injured, but AJ DeBonsa lived up to every bit of the investment that BYU put into him because that guy brought it every single night. Hopefully he can win the Naismith, but I get the feeling that Cameron Boozer is going to probably come away with that award. Hour number 3 coming up next. Hans Olsen joins me live. Talk BYU football around the corner here on KSL.
From ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. A light at the end of the financial tunnel, even though it might be temporary for TSA workers on the job over 40 days without pay due to the partial government shutdown. They will get all back pay this Monday. ABC News senior White House correspondent Selena Wang.
Tens of thousands of other DHS employees, including many FEMA workers and Coast Guard personnel, will continue going without pay. A senior administration official tells ABC News that TSA workers will be paid through President Trump's mega bill passed last year, the same funding source that has continued paying ICE and Border Patrol throughout this shutdown.
It's not clear when TSA workers will get their next paycheck if the shutdown continues. Some federal employees are asking if there was a way to pay them all along, why did it take this long? The Iran war widens with Iran-backed Houthi rebels claiming a missile launch that Israel said it shot down. The Houthis have weapons that can target commercial shipping in the Red Sea, says one analyst. Reza Pahlavi, the son of the former Shah of Iran, has a message for America. Stay the course in the Iran war at the annual convention of the Conservative Political Action Committee in Grapevine, Texas, near Dallas.
The only path to lasting peace and stability runs through a clean break with this regime. For the first time in 47 years, President Trump's strategy has given us a real chance to achieve that outcome.
The audience chanted King Reza Pahlavi. Meanwhile, in Dallas,
People power! What kind of power?
one of thousands of No Kings protests taking place across the U.S. today. The protesters oppose what they call authoritarianism under President Trump. A suspected bomb attack outside a Bank of America building in Paris was thwarted, police say. One person's detained, another got away, says France's National Anti-Terrorism Prosecutor's Office. You're listening to ABC News.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, our credit card bill came and it's higher than last month.
How? We haven't charged anything.
Paying the minimum isn't enough. It will keep getting higher until we take control. We need to go to 47fastcash.com.
With our bad credit?
47fastcash.com can help any credit type get approved for up to $5,000 in minutes.
Take control and get the money you need at 47fastcash.com. 47fastcash.com.
I've been telling you all about the secret war on our cash and the free report you can receive a copy of by contacting Swiss America at 800-289-2646. I'd also like to encourage you to subscribe to their podcast on YouTube. Just search Swiss America Trading. The podcast can provide you a ton of vital information and financial news in the challenging and uncertain times we're in. Subscribe today. Learn more about BRICS, industry leaders, and their market predictions for the future, along with what you might expect to see in terms of precious metal performance in the weeks and months ahead. Message and data rates may apply.
Good afternoon. It's 2:03 at KSL News Radio. I'm Isabella Sosa. KSL's top local story this hour. Utah is hosting 18 No Kings protests today, joining thousands of demonstrations around the world. Events are spread from St. George to Logan. Here in Salt Lake City, protesters are gathering now at Washington Square to march to the Capitol. Roads are closed around the city-county building and along State Street up to the Capitol. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. the astronaut who prompted NASA's first medical evacuation from the International Space Station earlier this year, says that doctors still don't know why he suddenly fell ill. 59-year-old retired Air Force Colonel Mike Fink says he suddenly could not talk while having dinner on board the space station back in January.
The preponderance of opinion is that this was definitely related to microgravity.
Fink says he felt no pain and crewmates rushed to help him. We have an update on a deadly tourist helicopter crash off a remote beach in Hawaii. Authorities say 3 people were killed and 2 others were injured when the chopper crashed off Kalalau Beach in Kauai on Thursday. Fire Chief Michael Gibson says bystanders jumped into action to try to save any survivors.
Upon arrival, our team encountered multiple patients across the beach and the shoreline.
Authorities said the aircraft was carrying 1 pilot and 4 passengers. Coming up, enjoy the warmth while it lasts. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 12:04 or 2:04.
Utah homeowners, listen up. If your roof is over 15 years old and you've had recent storm damage, now's the time to act. Hey, it's Josh with IWC Roofing, and we've built our reputation on quality, integrity, and taking care of homeowners the right way from start to finish. IWC Roofing, Utah's highest-rated roofing company, is now offering $2,500 off your new roof replacement, plus a free upgrade package to maximize your home's protection and value. But that's not all. We're giving away a free roof. Yep, you heard me. One homeowner will receive a brand new roof free. The winner to be announced August 1st. And here's where it gets even better. When you call and mention this radio ad, you'll receive double entries to win. Appointments are filling up fast, and this offer won't last. Call now for your free inspection and estimate. 801-232-5690. That's 801-232-5690. Save $2,500, get upgraded, and you could win a brand new roof. Call IWC Roofing today, 801-232-5690. Restrictions apply. No purchase necessary. See IWCRoofingUtah.com for details and rules.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big. UCCU, love where you bank. A few things are happening right now in West Valley City. All northbound lanes on Mountain View Corridor at 4100 South are closed for a crash. And then that crash northbound I-15 as you reach Bangerter Highway is still blocking the right shoulder, causing some slowdowns. And up in Roy, a crash northbound I-15 near Hill Air Force Base has got some traffic going bumper to bumper. Temperatures will get up to the upper 70s the next couple of days. Tuesday onward will drop to the 50s and 60s with showers. Right now, it's partly cloudy and 70 degrees. I'm Isabella Sosa, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's Cougar Sports Saturday.
Touchdown! Stayed inside the boundary and gets in for 6.
Cougar Sports Saturday, a presentation of KSL Sports.
Ritchie right to the rim, driving score!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Here's your host, Mitch Harper, on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Hour number 3 is off and running here on Cougar Sports Saturday. If you missed any part of the program, you can subscribe to this podcast. Just wherever you get your podcasts, just search Cougar Sports Saturday. You can also listen on the KSL Sports app as well. Mitch Harper here with you. BYU spring football, 1 week left until they close up shop for the spring and then head into PRPs, player-ran practices, summer conditioning. Before we know it, it's another season of BYU football. 23 weeks from today, to be exact, you'll hear our next guest, lovely voice. He's an analyst on the BYU Sports Network. Overall great guy. Hans Olsen joins me now here on Cougar Sports Saturday. Hans, how you doing, man?
Mitch, you're the great guy, man. I'm just a bum on the street now. I'm just the guy flinging insurance. You're the one that's out there delivering the hard-hitting news, man. It's been fun listening to you as a pedestrian. instead of a professional, man. You guys absolutely kill it, and I appreciate you having me on.
Well, I appreciate you hopping on, and I hope life is treating you well in your new endeavors. How, just maybe before we get into some football talk, how is the new career move going for you?
Well, the career move is currently me and my dad on Strawberry Lake, and we just got caught in a little bit of a windstorm out here, so then I floated our motor, so we almost floated back across the lake. So the career move is getting crazy, having some time with my dad, having some time with my brother, flinging some insurance with GBS, the Levitt Group. They're just incredible. So group insurance, if you need any type of employee group benefits, that's what I do now. And I'm having a blast with it. And I miss Scotty G. I miss our team over at KSL. I miss Nate Dowdle, miss Lloyd Cole. I miss all those boys, but life is really good. And as you mentioned, I can't wait to get back on the air with Greg Wrubell and calling these BYU football games again and feeling the energy and the excitement. I think that BYU is set for an incredible season, Mitch. You've been out there at spring ball. You've been watching them fling it around, and there's a lot to be excited about.
There really is, Hans, and I'm glad to hear, and I know Cougar Nation is excited to have you once again on the mic again, year 4 with you and Greg Wrubell in the booth in the Big 12 era. You've been there every step of the way. I get the feeling, though, Hans, like this team's got everything in front of them to get back to Arlington and might be good enough to get over the hump and probably maybe not probably, but may have a chance to win the Big 12. Just what have been some of your initial takeaways from what you've seen from spring ball and maybe the strengths of this team right now?
There's a lot. There's a lot, and I think you're absolutely right, Mitch. I don't want to place the expectations on Kalani to make it back to the Big 12 championship or bust. I don't think that that's fair. But when you look at the team and you look at the guys that are returning, it's kind of not hard not to build that expectation, honestly. Bear has looked really good in spring, and his body is thick and it is maturing, and I think that his mind is maturing. And one thing that we've learned with Aaron Roderick, the longer he has a quarterback, the better the quarterback gets. Is that fair?
Yeah.
I think that's fair in saying. I think the longer that Aaron Roderick has influence, the better a quarterback gets. And Bear has had a lot of great throws, and his spiral is tight, and his movements back into his set actually look more efficient. Like you can tell, just off a casual eye, out at spring ball, you can tell that he is more efficient to his 3-step and his post and delivery off the lead foot than he was as he came in as a true freshman into fall camp. So I'm really excited about him. And then you just go to the fact that you've got an all Big 12 offensive player back in LJ Martin, and that's the safety net. So all I need to see, I know everybody's worried about receivers. I'm just not worried about receivers. I think Fessy can get a couple of these guys, even these younger guys. I think he can get Nakua in order. I think he could get Legend Glasgow, and you can't sit there, Mitch, and tell me you haven't seen him out of practice. And I'm not going to mention the corners he's burned, but he's burning really good corners. Am I right?
Yeah, no question.
So my son Rock played with Legend, and I've known Legend since he showed up on the scene. I think he was a sophomore, and he showed up on the scene at Lehigh High School. And I've known that kid for a lot of years, and Rock loves him, and the team loved him, and Coach Larson loved him. And when those guys love you, there's something special about you. So Legend is a great bloodline, great kid, and I cannot wait to see that kid blow up. So I'm not worried about the receivers. What I need to see is a replacement for Carson Ryan. And what you and I have seen is Saliapaga really do some nice work. I think between him and Lyons, I think that you've got a couple of replacement tight ends. And Saliapaga moves different than Carson Ryan. He's got the same kind of aggressive nature as Carson Ryan. But my guess is if you took a poll of every offensive coach, on that staff of who was their top end most efficient blocker last year, it was Carson Ryan. More than anybody else, it was Carson Ryan. And so Saliapaga has got to find that replacement blocking, and you've got to be able to use a little bit of 12, a little bit of 13. You know that you like that double motion. You like that disconnect, so you like to run a little bit of slot. You run some of your screens and some of your swings behind what was Carson, should be Saliapaga now. So I like that replacement, and I'm feeling really encouraged about what I'm seeing offensively.
That's a great point, Hans, because you got Lyons, you got Saliapaga. Kean Need could be a really good blocker still. He was good last season. Noah Moeaki, he had a touchdown grab earlier in the year against Portland State. He's shown some moments. Like maybe that tight end position could be utilized even more than what it's been. And Aaron Roderick wants to. Maybe that can mask some of the questions at wide receiver.
I think it will. And you talked about Kean Need. Over the years, there have been a lot of tight ends that have had important, critical usage, especially red zone usage, that you never hear their name. Kean Need last year was one of those guys. He had high-level blocking usage, especially in red zone, and he was really good. So you're right. Seeing him back is important. I know that there's going to be a lot of questions out there about opposite tackle. Gentry's back, and I think Gentry's going to be incredible. I'm glad that Bruce Mitchell's back anchoring down that center position. And I know that BYU brought in a couple of different players at that opposite tackle position. One of them's an Oregon transfer. I watched him. You've probably seen him, Mitch. He's a little undersized, but he's got those great Polynesian feet. He tap dances back into his kick step, and he's got great position. And if he can be the anchor that you need, it could actually be a very usable left tackle because, you think about the defensive ends that got BYU last year. That defensive end, what did he just run? He ran was it a 4.95 or a 4.89 or something at the combine out of Texas Tech?
Yep.
That gave BYU so many fits. You need quick feet because you've got these speed rushing edges in the Big 12. So give me some quick feet, maybe even more than an anchor. If I've got to rotate an anchor, I can do that too. If I've got to rotate Leusa out, I can do that. So, Mocassini. So there's a lot of good things I can do on the offensive front.
How do you feel about the defensive line? Obviously, you were a BYU great in the interior of the defensive line. You know the position, the expectations, what it takes to compete at the line of scrimmage at the defensive line in this program better than anyone. Like, just what do you make of how this defensive line is coming together? Because personnel-wise, it looks as deep as maybe BYU's ever been, but maybe there's still a question of who are going to be the standouts maybe every single week. What do you make of that group?
Well, I think what's going to be interesting, I think we'll probably see quite a bit of odd front. I think we're going to see some odd front. And I think we'll see Justin Kirkland at a plus-minus. And, look, Mitch, he's got to step up, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they paid big money for him, and he was injured, and he's healed. And I know you've seen in camp, they've been using him a lot in odd fronts, and they've been using him just across the center's face in a lot of different techniques. And there's a lot of cross-threading that you can do with him from that position, which will be nice. So, in my opinion, you've got some anchors. You've got some guys that can anchor down. What I need is some pass rush. So, how do you generate that? Well, can Tausili be that guy? Can he take the next step? And how much can you use him at the line? Can Isaiah Glasker, as he's getting healed, can he take on more of a? I'm trying to think of a great rush edge that would be comparable to him. Okay, Brian Keel.
Yeah.
You remember when Keel matured in the Bronco defense, and you could walk him up off the edge, and he could give you a nice power rush and some speed rush.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see Glasker in some of that this year. And I'd like to see Akana. And then, there's some other guys that you'd love to see develop. I know that they're trying to figure out exactly what they want to do with Ephraim Asiata. And I'm hoping, because I've seen him on a couple of speed rushes where he gets really close, and I'm hoping he could be that guy. And then you got your typical defensive ends that have been around. So I still feel encouraged, and I don't want to dismiss Jay Hill. I don't want anybody to get me wrong, because I'll never dismiss Jay Hill. He's one of my very close friends. I love him dearly. I think he's worth every penny any school pays him. But people ask me, are you panicking? Are you panicking? You've lost Gennaro Guilford and you lost Jay Hill. Yeah, they're my whoopee. They're kind of my secure blanket, no question. But my real blanket is Gary Anderson. He always has been. He is the steady force. From the minute I stepped on air back in 2007 and he showed up at the University of Utah and took that team to an undefeated season in 2008, people got to understand that a bulk of what happened defensively that year was Gary Anderson's brainchild, and the way he used that front and the way he orchestrated the safety positions. Yeah, everybody looks at Jay Hill and everybody looks at Morgan Scalley and everybody looks at Kalani Sitake. Who's the common denominator there, Mitch?
Gary Anderson.
That's right. It's Gary Anderson.
Yeah.
So when people tell me, "Oh, are you panicking?" "Oh, boys, BYU got to," it's like, hey, remember who's there. It's the anchor. It's Gary, and Gary will work very closely with Popinga, and they'll get things figured out. And we're gonna see a similar call, a similar style, because that's who Gary Anderson is, and that's what this defense should be. So I'm encouraged about that too, Mitch.
Last thing before I let you go, Hans, and appreciate all the time. And I bring this up because you were a teammate with the man, and you've talked many times on the airwaves about the importance of retaining Kalani Sitake, because you know as well as anyone that Kalani's had so many opportunities. We all saw it with Penn State. Just how excited are you to just see this maybe next phase of Kalani Sitake where he knows that he is the guy, and just maybe as his teammate, as a guy that's calling his games, that's just how excited are you to see this maybe next iteration of the Kalani Sitake era at BYU?
You know, I think Kalani is truly ready for a breakout season. I think he's done enough, and he's had enough success that he is really ready for a breakout season. I also know that Kalani has coached with a lot of stress. People don't understand. I mean, I guess people do kind of know, he had a baby, and he had a baby at kind of an older age. And that put a lot of responsibility on him. And he didn't know where he really sat with BYU. He didn't know. I think he hoped that the BYU fans loved him. I think he hoped that BYU loved him. But the number of years, it's not even the number of dollars, because I don't think Kalani cares about dollars. Kalani cares about somebody caring about him. He cares about somebody just showing a little bit of integrity and showing some loyalty. And that's what he wanted. And that's what BYU gave him. And so I think he's going to coach with a different sense of confidence. And he still has his guys. I mean, he's got his crew. Aaron Roderick is his guy. TJ Woods is his guy. He's got Gary Anderson's his boy. So he's got his guys that make him feel comfortable. Now it's time to lean into those guys, still be that, heavy, influential presence he's been, that ball of energy, the dancing nut that he is on the sideline, and still just find that love and passion, but coach with some real confidence that, okay, let's say there were some major problems, big injuries that dismantled this team, and a year that they should have made it back to the Big 12 championship, they're four wins short of it. They're sitting middle of the pack, Big 12. Well, guess what, man? He'll be back in 2027. And you reload, and it's time to go again. So I just think Kalani is set to have a great season, full of confidence and a lot of help around him.
He's Hans Olsen. You'll be able to listen to him this fall here on KSL and the BYU Sports Network with Greg Wrubell. Hans, appreciate the time. Wish you nothing but the best and hope to do this again down the road.
Anytime you need me, Mitch, I'm always here for you, brother. Always.
Thank you, Hans. Appreciate you as always. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, man, and we got to get to a break. It's Cougar Sports Saturday here on KSL.
A family office is a team built to handle the three biggest financial responsibilities a family faces: wealth management, tax strategy, and estate planning. Most firms only manage your investments and refer the rest out, hoping everyone stays aligned. At Trajan, we built something different. Your wealth, tax planning, and estate planning are handled together inside one firm under one roof. There's no guessing whether your CPA, advisor, and estate attorney are truly in sync, because our team works together every day on your behalf. When your financial life becomes more complex, your advice should become more coordinated, not more fragmented. One plan, one trusted team. Call Trajan today, 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Trajan Wealth, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Additional services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures and accreditation at TrajanWealth.com.
I didn't switch to Pure Talk just because I wanted to save 50% off the same 5G service I'd been paying twice as much for. I switched because I like the idea of being in business with a wireless company that supports our veterans in a meaningful way. Pure Talk also creates American jobs every day by keeping their entire operation in this country. I appreciate that. If you feel the same, dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term.
Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Amanda, every business needs IT help. And sometimes you've got that guy who already works for your company who knows how to do this stuff, but sometimes you don't. Or the guy who knows the IT stuff, that's not his actual job.
Right. So Les Olson IT they can be your 24/7 help desk. They can support your existing help desk. They can do advanced cybersecurity protection. Maybe just come and take a look. Are you subject to phishing or ransomware or other things? What are the cyber threats you're facing?
And you've got to make sure that your data is secure. So both cloud and data backup solutions, they can help you with that. Plus, everybody's got to use a computer. That's where hardware comes in, infrastructure support. You don't have to know all this stuff because Les Olson IT knows it.
And most of the time, they can help you fix whatever's going wrong remotely, just off your computer. Plus, of course, they have copiers and printers. They always will at the very best price.
Les Olson IT is your trusted local IT partner. They've been in business for 70 years, and they've got 9 locations from Logan to Las Vegas.
Find out more at lesolson.com.
Gold demand is skyrocketing to record highs. As more Americans rush to preserve their savings, will there be enough gold? I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe physical gold is the only way to truly protect your 401k or IRA savings. Gold offers tangible security that can't be tracked, stolen, or inflated. That's why I strongly advocate for gold IRAs. To learn more, text the word SECURE to 989898 now. Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust, and their thousands of great reviews prove I'm not alone. So don't wait another second. Protect your retirement savings today and see how easy it is to move your IRA or 401k into physical precious metals. Text SECURE to the number 989898 for your free gold IRA info kit. Again, SECURE to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply.
You deserve a home that's truly your sanctuary. Why are you waiting? Dreammaker Bath and Kitchen helps turn someday into today. A space that works and feels like you. Because design and build live under one roof, your remodel experience stays organized. From the first discovery consultation to the final walkthrough, with one team from start to finish. You deserve a home that you can truly be happy in. And that's possible right now. A clear, structured timeline keeps guesswork out of your kitchen or bath project, and it starts with your budget and a fixed price. Then the detailed plan begins with smart and stylish selections, so you know exactly what to expect. Dream Maker Bath and Kitchen is built on integrity and customer focus, and that shows up in the little things: clean job sites and proactive updates that keep you fully in the loop. Back nationally and 3 locally owned Wasatch Front locations. Schedule a consultation at dreammaker-remodel.com. That's dreammaker-remodel.com. Enhancing lives, improving homes. dreammaker-remodel.com.
Big thanks to Hans Olsen for hopping on Cougar Sports Saturday. Appreciate Hans. He's awesome. I think, look, and I got a lot of respect for all the analysts that have been on the radio. I think Hans is the best that BYU football's got. You know, I think Hans truly has been a perfect fit in that booth with Greg, and looking forward to hearing his calls and his conversations with Kalani and post-game this football season, and they should be really good. And you can tell, too, that Kalani, he's got a really good respect for Hans because they were teammates. So they can talk about things in post-game interviews that, you know, folks like myself or other media members or people that ask questions maybe can't get on a deeper level with Kalani. So Hans does a fantastic job, and I appreciate him for carving out a few minutes with me today. We'll take a break. On the other side, you'll hear from edge rusher, outside linebacker, DN, do-it-all guy, Hunter Clegg, next here on Cougar Sports Saturday.
Jackson Hewitt has a great tax prep deal, $149 or less. Missing out is like ignoring the check engine light in your car. You'll regret it. Seriously, the price is only $149 or less, no matter how complicated, so don't wait. Like when you get a password expires today alert, or you're shopping online and there's only one item left. It's like your taxes are in the cart, just complete the purchase. Hurry, this deal for $149 or less is like your phone at 1%. It's about to power down. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doot, and sometimes it's like grrr.
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh, yeah.
And we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the grrr.
Not with Fix Finder. Free at every AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Ever drive through the neighborhood and your spouse points out the window and says, "How come our lawn doesn't look like that one?" You know the house. The one with the thick, deep green lawn that makes the rest of the neighborhood look like an afterthought. That's no mystery. That's a big league lawn. It's the professional, lush green lawn you shouldn't have to spend your weekends fighting for. Big League Lawns. Get the lawn your neighbors talk about and go home to a Big League Lawn.
Mosquito season in Utah? It's here. And it's hungry. Before the swatting starts and the kids run inside, call Skeeter Eater. Our mosquito service doesn't stink, doesn't stick, and actually works. We're a Utah company with family-friendly treatments built to help you enjoy your yard without the bug sprays, candles, or chaos. Get $40 off your first treatment now at SkeeterEater.com. Skeeter Eater. Stop the bites, start the fun.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Couponing. Wow, you didn't strike me as the coupon type.
Just trying to stay ahead of inflation. Gas, groceries, everything. It's all more expensive. I need to save wherever I can.
Have you tried Upside yet?
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that I use that pays cash back for every gallon of gas I buy. You've got to buy gas to get around anyway. Might as well get paid for it.
Come on, does that really add up to anything?
I've already made around $200. The extra cash helped pay down my bills, and I even had a little extra left to treat myself.
And the Upside app is free?
Totally free, and the cash back is real. You can transfer the cash right to your bank account.
I'm downloading Upside right now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code ENJOY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
High five! Up top! Dave's company just got the 5-year price lock guarantee from Comcast Business. Yeah! It's 5 years of gig speed internet, advanced security, and a great rate that won't change. All from the company with 99.9% network reliability. Heck yeah! He hasn't given this many high fives since Deborah brought in her famous banana bread. Yes! The Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee. Powering 5 years of savings, powering possibilities.
And it's hurting, but I am not stopping.
Woo! For a limited time, now through March 29th, switch to Comcast Business to lock in your rate for 5 years and get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying gig bundle. Or ask how to get started with 150 megabit internet and Security Edge for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Don't wait. Call today. Restrictions apply. New customers only. 1-year contract required for guaranteed rate. Paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account required. 5-year pricing applies to monthly service charge excluding taxes and fees.
It's Cougar Sports Saturday.
Touchdown! Stayed inside the boundary and gets in for 6.
Cougar Sports Saturday, a presentation of KSL Sports.
Richie right to the rim, driving score!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Here's your host, Mitch Harper, on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Cougar Sports Saturday rolls on here on KSL News Radio. Had the chance earlier this week to catch up with BYU defensive end Hunter Clegg. Clegg is a big-time player. Last year, remember, in his true freshman season, he played in all 13 games, had 1 sack, and it was a big sack. It was against Utah. It was on Devin Dampier. And Clegg, remember, he was a former Utah signee, 4-star guy out of American Fork High School, returned home from a mission, and then decided to switch from Utah to BYU. Formed a great relationship with Jay Hill, and many people pointed to Falatau Satuala as being like the guy that you would point to and say, if someone's going to leave and go to Michigan, it'd be Falatau Satuala. And Satuala did note that he had a decision to make when Jay Hill left. Same can be said for Hunter Clegg because he had a great relationship with Jay Hill, and he ultimately decided to stay with BYU. And I think it's one of the underrated returns for this BYU football team in the run-it-back piece. And as you heard from Hans Olsen, this defensive line has to establish the consistent, like who's going to be the top pass rushers. I think that Tausili Akana should be that guy, personally. I think Tausili Akana could be that guy. But right there, right after, in that bull rusher spot, is Hunter Clegg. But Hunter Clegg, though, last year was that bull rusher. Maybe now, a little bit different with an outside linebacker type role. It's not much has changed. He's still an edge rusher, but can maybe do a little bit more different things in this BYU defense. So it'll be interesting to see what Clegg can become for this BYU team. You look at some of the other defensive linemen for BYU. You've also got Bodie Schoonover. He returns. He's in that traditional bull rusher spot. You've also got Nusi Taumoepea, who, like Clegg, kind of that outside linebacker, edge rusher. He's going to be good. He's out in spring, but he's going to be an excellent player. Kini Lau-Fonahema heading into his 3rd year. Kendall Wall, Cepha Brown, David Tonga, or excuse me, not David Tongalonu, Adney Reed, Braxton Lindsay, an edge rusher like a Clegg, Nehemiah Cologne in the interior, defensive tackle. It's a good defensive line. I think there's some intriguing talent and personnel, but you got to have some stars emerge for this group. And Hunter Clegg looks to potentially be one of those guys that could be a star for this team. But I think that BYU's defensive line could be really good this season. I really believe that. I think they're going to be an excellent team this year. And I had the chance to catch up with Hunter Clegg, and I asked him about how year 2 is going in this defense, and this is my conversation with Hunter Clegg.
It's a lot different. Last year, I was just kind of learning the plays, getting my feet under me. It had been a few years since I had played any football, so it's nice to come in this year and kind of already have mostly the playbook down, so I can just try to fly around as much as I can, make plays, and play free this spring.
You've seen, it looks like just kind of seeing you in practice and here in this interview, like there's probably some gains from being in the weight room, the winter conditioning. Like, yeah. I feel like you're now at what the body that you maybe wanted to be at when you got home from the mission.
Yeah, so last year I had to gain a lot of weight real fast to get up to like 250-ish, right around there. So after the season ended, I've just been trying to lean it out, keep the same weight, but just get more muscle mass, get faster, all the above.
Do you feel like you're playing at and I ask this because coming off missions, for people that maybe aren't as familiar with return missionaries, like, did you feel like you maybe lost a step a little bit to regain that speed and athleticism that you had as a high school player?
Yeah, it definitely took time because in the mission you lose a little bit of twitch, and then that combined with like putting on a bunch of weight when you get home, it takes a second to get your explosiveness still back. I think I'm definitely still working on that, but it's been a lot better than it has been, and I think once we get off spring ball, I'm just going to go all into speed and just body composition. So
how excited were you when K-Pop, who was your position coach last year, got promoted to DC this offseason?
Yeah, I was super happy for him. I was super excited. I didn't know who we were going to bring in, so when I heard that, I was pumped because I trust him 100%, and he's done a great job taking care of me, and I know he's going to do the same for the defense. So.
What was that time like, though, when Jay did leave? And I bring this up because I remember Jay recruited you quite a bit as a high school recruit. Maybe I assume that relationship was pretty good there with Coach Hill, but maybe just the thought of, like, who's it going to be? Who's going to be this defensive coordinator? Then kind of have that resolve and be a guy that was your position coach.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously, like, we loved Coach Hill, and he did a great job, but we talk about here a lot, like BYU's not just based off of one person or anything. Like, we're here for the other guys. We're here for the university, a lot more than just one coach or even all the coaching staff. Like, we're here for each other, and we're here to represent this university because a lot of us come from those same values, and we just love being here. So we're gonna fly around regardless, try our best, but. Jay is definitely a great coach for sure.
How much does it mean to you to represent your faith here at a place that represents the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints? How much does that mean to you?
Yeah, I think it's super cool. Just like, I think one of the coolest things is just being surrounded by like strong men of God all the time. Like, I feel like I can look around at anyone on our coaching staff, and I'm like, not only do I want to listen to them because they're going to help me be a better player, like I want to be that type of man that they are, that type of father. So it's kind of cool that here at BYU, it's not just one-sided where your professors are teaching you about a subject, your coaches are teaching you about something. Like, no, we want the complete person as well. They talk about that a lot, and it's cool to be able to have so many good examples of just like faithful men who are also exceptional at their like career, their field of study.
And speaking of the field, on the field, what can you say about this defense, through spring so far? How different is it going to be, if at all? Like, just some thoughts on this new look defense in 2026.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the core principles are pretty similar. My position didn't change a whole lot. My role didn't change a whole lot. I think this year we want to focus on just getting after it. Now I'm with Coach Chad, and he's just such a great pass rush teacher, pass rush specialist. So he's helping us get off the ball and get after the quarterback. So I just want to do that this year and make a lot of plays. Last year I feel like I was just kind of getting my feet under me and doing my job the best I could. But this year I want to just focus on making plays and helping the team.
What was the biggest lesson you learned or experience that you gained from your freshman year, you think?
Yeah, I think it'd be just that. Like, it was really good to get in the game and feel how it feels going against college competition, Big 12 competition, learning the plays, executing my assignment. But I feel like I left some on the table with just playmaking and block destruction and just like figuring out a way to get past. Like, I feel like I did my job, but I wasn't always making the biggest impact. So this year, that's kind of what I want to change, is just making plays.
Last thing for you, Hunter, and appreciate the time. The spring ball starts to wind down in the final stretch here. What are you guys looking to accomplish in this stretch run here?
I think as a defense, what we've been talking about the past few days, couple practices, is just like the intensity and the energy, the hustle. So just going 100% every play, no loafs, doing your job, doing it hard, and just sprinting to the ball, getting hype when people make plays. That's what defense is about, just big momentum and energy, getting lit. So there's been a couple practices sprinkled in that have been a little more flat. I think last Thursday we came out and like just totally flipped the switch and you could see a big difference. So we want to keep doing that and just flying to the ball, playing with high energy.
And that's BYU edge rusher, outside linebacker, Hunter Clegg. Excited about his future at BYU. I think he could be a stud. I think his ceiling, I think he could be potentially an all Big 12 guy down the road. Maybe it's this year. We'll see. I think Clegg, though, is going to be a really good player. Excited to see his growth in this BYU football program. Let's take a break, our final timeout of the show, and then we'll close out the program, put a bow on this thing, and get you ready for the weekend ahead here on Cougar Sports Saturday on KSL News Radio.
It's spring. You get outside and it's obvious your house needs painting. Make an appointment with CertaPro Painters. They'll give you a free estimate quickly and at the right price. And they make the entire process easy with reliable updates and communication. They know how important your home is to you. True professionals, they're committed to quality and exceptional service at the right price. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated, so schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
Right now, UCCU is offering short-term savings options with incredibly high yields. Simply make a deposit, then watch your savings grow with a fixed rate of return that's much higher than a savings account. UCCU also has great offers on jump-up options. So if rates continue to rise, you can jump up your rate and earn even more. Visit uccu.com to learn more and supercharge your savings today. UCCU. Love where you bank.
I'm Walker Kessler, and I play basketball for a living. So I know how important it is to have the support of a team you can trust. That's why I love UCCU. UCCU is more than a credit union. They're a true financial partner, a local team of experts your entire family can trust at every step of your financial journey. Just visit uccu.com and elevate your banking experience.
Rocky Mountain Gun Shows. Don't miss the Rocky Mountain Gun Show Saturday and Sunday, March 28th and 29th at the Mountain America Expo Center in Sandy. Stock up on wholesale ammo now and take advantage of savings that won't last. Get 500 rounds of 9mm ammo for just $85 with no limit on quantity. It's the Rocky Mountain Gun Show, so you know it'll be good. Rocky Mountain Gun Shows.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Will?
When I was 50, my whole life fell apart. I lost my job, I lost my wife, I lost the house, I lost pretty much everything except for my life. When the IRS came calling, I just didn't have it in me. I felt like Wile E. Coyote, just waiting for that IRS anvil to drop.
Then Will found tax relief advocates.
I heard their advertisement on the radio, I wrote down the number, and I made the call that changed everything. The IRS gave me a bill for $40,000. Tax Relief Advocates got that down to $3,200. I've paid 9 cents on the dollar. Now that's a great deal in anybody's book.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Will did and call TRA for a consultation.
But for me, the real win is I got my life back.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-488-2578. 800-488-2578. That's 800-488-2578.
1877 Cars for Kids. KSL.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877-CARS-4-KIDS to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877-CARS-4-KIDS to donate your car today.
1-877-CARS-4-KIDS. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877-CARS-4-KIDS.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids. Rolaids' dual-active formula has calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. Yeah, you heard right. 2 actives for that powerful relief. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolade spells powerful relief. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Jackson Hewitt will do your taxes for $149 or less, no matter how complicated. So if you're a delivery driver / handyman / wedding DJ, you pay only $149 or less. We're talking to you, waitress.
Check, please.
/ pet sitter / influencer. Just $149 or less. Want your refund to work as hard as you? Hurry. Don't wait. File with Jackson Hewitt today. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
The off-the-air conversations here on Cougar Sports Saturday are fun. Taking trips down memory lane. The road less traveled sometimes. It's been a great show so far. Big thanks to all the football players I caught up with this week at spring practice. And then, of course, Hans Olsen. If you missed those interviews, you can check them out on the Cougar Sports Saturday podcast feed. And also, too, every single day, still holding it down on Cougar Tracks. Now, I know Cougar Tracks not on the over-the-air signal here on KSL every night like it was 6:30 to 7. That was from August to March. We had a great run. We had a lot of fun on that show this season. But I'm still holding it down on the podcast, on the KSL Sports YouTube every single day on Cougar Tracks. So make sure to subscribe to that as well, and you can get your daily fix of BYU sports talk on KSL Sports YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. So coming up today, NCAA tournament action. Arizona is going to take on Purdue. I'm going to go with Arizona. Finds a way to get the win. I'm a little bit nervous about this game. I don't know why. I have this fear that the Big 12 is going to be shut out from the Final Four. Arizona's the best team, I think, but I always just think when a team has a perfect performance, it's like they peaked. Now it's the slide after a peak performance. How they played against Arkansas is tough to replicate. And people are going to expect that type of performance again. But I'm going to say Arizona gets by Purdue in what will be probably a close game. I think Arizona gets the national championship game. I'll still say Arizona cuts down the nets, but I'll tell you, I think this is going to be a tough field. Michigan could be waiting in the wings. Duke still out there, so it's going to be a lot of fun these next 2 days here. From BYU perspective, so next week we'll have spring football. That'll close up shop, and then they'll have the alumni game. And we'll have a lot of spring football to unpack over the next week. But then also, too, BYU basketball portal season will heat up around the corner. April 7th is when the portal opens. And I was thinking about this, too. Players from the mid-major programs are starting to get ahead of the portal getting open or becoming open by declaring their intentions that they are going to enter the transfer portal. And some of the names that have been populating, they've got some connections to Utah County. Maybe they're LDS. Maybe they were once signed to BYU. But some interesting names that have caught my attention who have declared their intentions to go into the portal. Trevin Leonhardt from Utah Valley. Point guard, a guard. He averaged 12.3 points, 5.3 rebounds, 6.0 assists, and 2.2 steals per game. Really good player. And I still believe this might be a hot take for some, but I still believe you build around Rob Wright. I've had some conversations with people, some friends of the program that are kind of a little bit lukewarm on that idea. I personally still believe in Rob, but Rob's got to be a leader next year. He's got to be the guy that brings everything together for this BYU team. But it would be great to have another ball handler for this BYU squad. Nate Pickens told me in Portland that he wants to return and run it back and return from his injury. He's about 2 months out from getting back to full strength. But, Trevin Leonhardt, he'll be interesting to see what market he has. He was a good player at Utah Valley. Another guy that was really good at UVU, Jackson Holcomb. He's 6'7", 207, not a three-point shooter, only shot 19% from three. Don't like that, but he was a tough player at UVU. I think he's also related to Ryan Smith. I think it's his nephew. So wouldn't mind that. Jackson Holcomb could be a name to watch from UVU. And then also former Utah player and Clemson Tiger, once upon a time signed with BYU, Jake Wallane. I was at Jake Walline's commitment ceremony when he announced that he was giving his verbal commitment to BYU. That was the Mark Pope era. And Jake Wallane, I remember he was with Yoli Childs, and time flies by. It's just crazy how long ago that's been. But Wallane's got 1 year of eligibility remaining. He was solid for Clemson. Started off and on for the Clemson Tigers. He's 6'10". He's got good size. I think there's some value there. I just don't know if that's the type of player BYU wants. I don't know. But I think it's an interesting name that's got some connections. Another guy that caught my eyes, if you will, Ethan Copeland from Stetson. You're like, who's this guy? Originally played at Lone Peak High School. He's only 6'2", so a little bit smaller. Dude shot 41% from three. I'm telling you, you can shoot the rock. There's value there. And I know that a lot of talk this offseason for BYU is going to be defense, defense, defense. I still believe you got to put the ball in the hole. Arizona, as I was talking about them, they gave up more than 80 points, but they scored 109. Ultimately, offense can get the job done. I know, cliche, defense wins championships. There were stretches of this season where I think BYU's defense was better than what we saw in year one under Kevin Young. I do believe that. Like, we forget that Sweet 16 against Alabama, they gave up 113 points. They gave up a record in the NCAA tournament for threes. It's not like it was some incredible juggernaut of a defense on the road to the Sweet 16. But they do got to get better defensively, but I still believe offense can trump all. And guys that can put it in the hole and knock down three-point shots. Because, again, KY's got an ability to get great one-and-done players. Those one-and-done NBA guys typically are excellent passers. That's what it's been with Yegor. That's what it was with the AJ. With Yegor, he had shooters around him. AJ did not. And that was a problem for this BYU team where they were not consistent knocking down threes. Someone that's got connections to Utah County and shot 41%, that triggers my antenna. I'm like, hey, look at that guy. See what he can be. But again, 6'2", a little bit smaller. Carson Templin from Utah State, 6'9", 230. I like that dude from Utah State. It'd make a lot of sense to follow Jared Calhoun to Cincinnati or maybe even Odom at Virginia. But, again, I think that he's someone that would be worth looking at. He's got size. He can be a shot blocker. I like Carson Templin. Ryder Frost, he was a guy that BYU offered in the 2025 recruiting cycle. Played this past year at Notre Dame. 6'7", 215 pounds. Barely played for Notre Dame. But again, I think BYU is very selective on who they offer from the high school ranks. So if it's a guy that they did offer, maybe look at that situation with Ryder Frost. So those are some names that kind of caught my attention. Another player was Christian Bliss from Delaware. I bring him up because remember last transfer portal cycle, BYU added some guys, Nate Pickens, Tyler Maruss, from teams that BYU faced in the non-conference. Those were UC Riverside and Idaho last year. This season, BYU played Delaware, who had Christian Bliss. he's got good size, and he was really good against BYU. I remember him standing out to me in that game in early November. Remember, Delaware was up for a lot of that game. He had 18 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists was Christian Bliss. So, look, KY, the thing that's great about KY's program that I think a lot of fans don't realize, he builds this thing out like an NBA program. So his staff, his recruiting department, they've got an idea already of the direction that they would go with potential portal guys if they enter the portal, because you have to do that. You've got to evaluate personnel from across the country, and sometimes when you face a team and a guy pops off against your squad, you might say, hey, put him on the board. If he hits the portal, maybe we kick the tires and look at that guy potentially. So that's why I bring up someone like a Christian Bliss from Delaware, even though, again, he has no ties to BYU. But he went up against BYU, and he looked really good against the Cougars in that one game. Those are some names that I'll be kind of keeping an eye on. But, again, it'll heat up a lot more with power conference guys making their intentions known into the portal. And, look, BYU is going to have some guys enter the portal as well. That's going to do it for this edition of Cougar Sports Saturday. I hope you enjoyed it. Nate Slack will be back next week. Congrats to Nate, proud new owner of his home, brand new house. So congrats to him and his wife, the Slack Shack, off the ground as well. So congrats to Nate. He'll be back next week. And I'll talk to you next time here on Cougar Sports Saturday.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City.
From ABC News, I'm Chuck Severson. Relief. TSA workers on the job over 40 days without pay due to the partial government shutdown will get all back pay this Monday, paid through the mega bill President Trump signed last year. ABC News senior White House correspondent Selena Wang.
But it remains unclear when they'll receive their next paycheck if this shutdown continues. According to the American Federation of Government Employees, many federal workers are asking why the president didn't act sooner if he already had the authority to pay them. And even with back pay coming, many federal workers will continue to struggle due to penalties and late fees accumulated over the past several weeks.
Tens of thousands of other Homeland Security employees, including many FEMA workers and Coast Guard, will continue going without pay. The Iran war gets bigger, with Iran-backed Houthi rebels claiming a missile launch that Israel said it shot down. The Houthis have weapons that can target commercial shipping in the Red Sea, says one analyst. Reza Pahlavi, the son of the former Shah of Iran, has a message for America: stay the course in the Iran war, at the annual convention of the Conservative Political Action Committee in Grapevine, Texas, near Dallas.
What we ask of America now is simple: stay the course. Do not throw this crumbling regime a lifeline. Pave the way for the Iranian people to finish the job.
The audience chanting King Reza Pahlavi. Meanwhile, across America, over 3,000 No Kings protests.
We'll remember the names of those who died on the streets of Minneapolis.
Bruce Springsteen performing at one rally in St. Paul, Minnesota today. Protesters oppose what they call authoritarianism under President Trump. Suspected bomb attack outside of a Bank of America building in Paris was thwarted, police say. One person in custody. You're listening to ABC News.
If you've saved more than $300,000, there's one thing you can do now that can make your savings go twice as far in retirement, and it's tax planning. That's right. Tax planning could significantly reduce the taxes on your IRA and 401k withdrawals, Social Security benefits, and other investment income. Find out how much money you could save with a free retirement tax savings analysis from the good people at Boss Retirement Solutions. To schedule your free analysis, call 801-896-9622. Tax planning for retirement could reduce your taxes not just for 1 year, but for the rest of your life. And the savings could be 6 figures. Let's find out how much money you could save. Call 801-896-9622. 801-896-9622.
For informational purposes only, actual results may vary. No statement contained herein shall constitute tax, legal, or investment advice. Advisory services offered through Boss Retirement Advisors, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products and services offered through Boss Retirement Solutions.
As a social influencer, my days can be busy. 4 a.m., I hit the gym. 4:32, protein smoothie. 5:08, save time and money bundling my home and auto insurance with Progressive. Wait, if I bundle and save time, what would I do then? Just sit here and reflect? Like, why am I qualified to influence anyone? And how those weights are hollow? And half of my followers are bots.
You could save time and money bundling your home and auto when you switch to Progressive. It's one less thing to worry about during your already busy day. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Jackson Hewitt has a great tax prep deal, $149 or less. Missing out is like ignoring the check engine light in your car. You'll regret it. Seriously, the price is only $149 or less, no matter how complicated. So don't wait. Like when you get a password expires today alert, or you're shopping online and there's only one item left. It's like your taxes are in the cart. Just complete the purchase. Hurry! This deal for $149 or less is like your phone at 1%. It's about to power down. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
You're listening to a pre-recorded paid commercial program brought to you by Boss Retirement Solutions.
Saving for retirement is a great start, but it's what you do with this money that really matters. How will you reduce your taxes, generate income, pay for the skyrocketing cost of healthcare, and optimize your Social Security benefits? Welcome to Retirement Solutions Radio with Tyson Thacker and Ryan Thacker from Boss Retirement Solutions. This is where you can count on straightforward and objective advice about the toughest challenges you'll face in retirement today. And now, here are your hosts, Tyson Thacker and Ryan Thacker.
There's one thing you should always remember about the stock market. It's never a matter of if the market will drop. It's just a matter of when. And when the market does drop, it makes many people do something that's just as dangerous as the downturn itself, and that's panic. Welcome to Retirement Solutions Radio. I'm Ryan Thacker, along with my brother Tyson. And if you're nearing or you're in retirement already, we have a great show planned for you today, because when markets get rocky, like they are right now at the time that we're recording this, people make emotionally driven decisions that often have a devastating long-term consequence on their portfolio. But here's something that you have to remember. The stock market has a long, long history of ups and downs. And if you look at chart of how the Dow going back decades through crashes, corrections, bull markets, bear markets, what you see isn't a disaster. What you see is resilience. And these are not anomalies. They're part of a natural cycle, and that's the way it's always been. So the real question isn't if volatility will show up, it's how you ride out the storm when it does. And what does history tell us about the mistakes people make in moments like this? And how do you turn uncertainty into opportunity? Well, on today's show, we'll talk about it. What's driving the current volatility, how it could impact your investments, and the strategies that could help you protect and grow your hard-earned savings no matter what the market does. Tyson, we always say that, investors have short-term memories, right? They only want to remember the good times. They don't want to remember the bad times. And we have been on one heck of a market run.
Oh my gosh.
That's been going on really since 2009. We've had some dips and some drops in the market, but nothing has stayed down long term. And now you've got war, you've got, what's going on in the Middle East, you've got oil prices going crazy, you've got the stock market going crazy. And so that's why we thought this would be a good time to talk about this on today's show.
Yeah, I love it. And so as part of this show, the entire show, we want to talk about strategies during market volatility. We've already seen a lot this year, right?
Yep.
And so in this segment, we want to talk about don't let your emotions get the best of you. And that's on both sides of the equation. You don't want to be overconfident that things are going to bounce back really quickly, like they have over the last decade. But you also don't want to have a knee-jerk reaction and start selling everything either. And as you mentioned, Ryan, we've had multiple years of 20, 25% returns in the S&P 500. And it feels like we've been on this just amazing ride up. But we can also have an amazing and more quick ride down. And there was this recent article from Morningstar that talked about this. And I'm not going to use the entire quote, but I'm going to share part of it. This expert says, trying to predict where the S&P 500 is going to end in any individual year to some degree, or even actually to a large degree. And if you think that it's either one, it's a fool's errand. As a long-term investor, you've got to look at valuations and help investors to be able to ride out downturns of the storm. And that's what this is all about today, is you've got to ride out these downturns, because you think about what's going on right now. At the time that we're recording this, there's a lot of volatility in the market. We're at the end of March. We've got oil prices that are shooting through the roof. We've got the war in Iran. There's a lot of things that are starting to freak people out. In fact, I just saw on social media, Ryan, where some people are predicting that this is COVID 2.0, that oil is going to have all of the governments try to tell people when they can drive their cars, that they need to work from home, all of these crazy potential things that could drive the market.
Yep.
And so as a result, you've got to be prepared for whatever is happening. And overall, you've got to make sure that you keep your emotions in check.
Well, and Tyson, there's this article here from Forbes that talks about why retirees can smile through a market recession. And I think one thing that's interesting here is it says, quote, historical data for bear markets from 1957 to 2020 show stocks typically recover within 19 months from the beginning of a recession. So think about that window, 1957 to 2020. And so this is the time that you need to, just remember, as all the different problems happen, that, we've had problems since the beginning of time. We have problems now. We're going to have them in the future. And, I think sometimes we want to be able to time everything perfectly. And, market timing, it's a fool's game. It really is, trying to figure out the exact timing, when to get in, when to get out. And Tyson, I think here, this would be a good time to talk about, okay, everyone knows what's going on. Let's talk about a solution. Let's talk about what the key is to being able to keep this stabilized. And let's just banter back and forth on this.
Yeah, the antidote to market volatility isn't trying to time the market, just like we've been talking about. It's having a long-term strategy you can stick to, even when your emotions are running high. Because as you just mentioned, markets are always going to recover. And what this really boils down to as a solution, Ryan, is first and foremost, the plan, Boss Retirement Blueprint, right?
Yes.
We give everybody a plan. We talk through this with everyone, and it makes a huge difference, right?
Well, let's just talk a little bit about, when we set up a portfolio, let's say someone has $1 million, we're going to bring in the Boss Retirement Blueprint, and it's going to focus on really key buckets. It's going to focus on your income bucket. It's going to focus on your investment and how to minimize your investment risk bucket. It's going to focus on your taxes and how to minimize taxes. And then it's going to focus on the last bucket, which is the legacy bucket, how to make sure that you've got everything going to where you want it to go when you pass away. So that's what a plan is.
Yes.
And, if you know your income's going to come in regardless of what happens in the stock market, you can sleep well at night.
Yes.
If you know that your investment risk matches what your risk tolerance is, you're going to sleep at night. And if you know that you're minimizing taxes and getting great returns simply by minimizing the taxes that you pay, that's a powerful thing. And so having a plan makes all the sense in the world. Tyson, if someone's listening, how can we help them right now?
Well, you think about it, when it relates to a plan, you've got a goal probably that you've set aside. Okay, I want to set aside $500,000, $1 million, whatever the number is. But I'd ask you this: what's your plan to reduce your taxes, or to pay for the skyrocketing cost of healthcare, or to make sure you maximize every Social Security dollar? Just as importantly, how are you going to generate income? So if you've got a financial game plan that you are looking to, with all of these things combined, it makes your money work a lot better. For instance, if you've got $500,000 saved, what we do for you is can help you to make it work more like $1 million, or $1 million work more like $2 million. Some firms are charging thousands of dollars to create a customized financial game plan. Here's the best news: we don't charge a dime, even if you're not a client. It's called the Boss Retirement Blueprint. This plan outlines all of the ways that you could make your money go a lot further in retirement: taxes, Social Security, IRAs, 401ks, pension, inflation, healthcare, generate income, and more. So give us a call at 800-918-3015. This plan gives you the roadmap that you're going to need to make sure that you can get to and through retirement with ease. 800-918-3015.
Well, coming up next, we're going to share what one of the most important things that you can do right now to protect your risk in a volatile market. Join us after the break.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
There are many times I thought, I can't do this. I mean, what parent isn't worried about? What am I not doing right? What am I not doing enough? And then I realized, wait, that's being a parent.
Don't worry about being perfect. I've had around 3 other mother figures in my life, but only one of them has taught me how a mother loves.
The greatest reward for me is he makes me better every day.
I would tell a family considering adopting a teenager that teenager, whoever it is, needs you, and they need what you have to offer.
Taylor's given me hope. He's our son, and that is what he will always be.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
When your car is making a strange noise, no matter what it is, you can't just pretend it's not happening.
That's an interesting sound.
It's like your mental health. If you're struggling and feeling overwhelmed, it's important to do something about it. It can be as simple as talking to someone in your community, or just taking a deep, calming breath when you need it. Nice. For mental health resources, check out loveyourmindtoday.org. At loveyourmindtoday.org, you'll find information that may help you get through a tough time. Things like tips for dealing with stress, how to navigate difficulties like financial worries, anger, substance use, and more. You can also find real stories of how people navigated their own mental health challenges. Because once you start to address the problem, you can go so much further. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Imagine all that could happen in 5 years. Jobs change, kids grow up, new memes come and go. But what if you had reliable, intelligent Wi-Fi and the price didn't change for 5 years? Well, thanks to the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee, you don't have to worry about that part of your future. You're guaranteed 5 years of Wi-Fi that boosts speeds to your devices that need the most, that finds and fixes any issues before you even notice. It's like a super intelligent Wi-Fi that keeps you protected from online threats. You get incredible gaming speeds on multiple devices and no one battling for bandwidth. For the next 5 years, all your devices will be working in perfect harmony with the equipment, with no annual contracts, no fees, and no strings. So even though your kid will grow up and you still won't understand 6, 7, the price for your sharp, reliable internet will stay put. The Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Select plans only.
Jackson Hewitt has a great tax prep deal, $149 or less. Missing out is like ignoring the check engine light in your car. You'll regret it. Seriously, the price is only $149 or less, no matter how complicated. So don't wait. Like when you get a password expires today alert, or you're shopping online and there's only one item left. It's like your taxes are in the cart. Just complete the purchase. Hurry! This deal for $149 or less is like your phone at 1%. It's about to power down. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Febreze. New Febreze Air Mist has 50% more odor fighters and up to 30% more fragrance than the old formula. So now you can take on 100% more stinky odors, like sweaty gym bags, greasy cooking smells, and the after effects of the dog rolling around in something. Just spray, and new Febreze Air instantly restores just clean freshness. Smell you later, odor.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
Nathan has taught me to embrace the moment. Age-wise, I'm in my late 60s. I'm old enough to be his grandfather. Will he be embarrassed to acknowledge me as his dad? I think the most important thing we can do is let them know that they're safe, that they're valued and cared for and loved, and that they're important.
I knew I wanted to be adopted by him because of how he taught me to be the person who I am today. And it's coming from a dad that didn't expect to become a dad. And I feel very proud to be his son.
That was what he needed, and he was what I needed. Every day is full of new opportunities. That's what it's been about, realizing the simple things that it takes to make such a huge difference in these kids' lives.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care at adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Some of the most meaningful jewelry you own isn't new. It's inherited. A ring from a grandmother. A necklace tucked away in a drawer. Pieces full of memories, but no longer your style. Duke's Jeweler specializes in reimagining family heirlooms into custom pieces you'll actually wear and love. Duke's on-site jewelers and designers work with you one-on-one to honor the original story while creating something fresh, modern, and uniquely yours. From resetting diamonds into new engagement rings to transforming multiple heirloom pieces into one stunning design, every project is crafted with care, precision, and intention. Don't let meaningful jewelry sit unused. Let it live on beautifully. Visit Duke's Jewelers on Main Street in Springville or online at dukesjewelers.com. Duke's Jewelers, where old stories become new treasures. dukesjewelers.com.
The more you listen to your kids, the closer you'll be. So we asked kids, what do you want your parents to hear?
I feel sometimes that I'm not listened to. I would just want you to listen to me more often and evaluate situations with me and lead me towards success.
We're not adults, so just be there and listen. I just want someone to yap to. And I just feel like I'll be fine if someone just hears me talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk.
You're doing a really good job. And I don't think I tell you that enough. And I know sometimes we get into it and it's just hard on both of us. But, try to understand me more and I'll try to do the same.
Listening is a form of love. Find resources to help you support your kids and their emotional well-being at sounditouttogether.org. That's sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Pivotal.
Looking to connect your kids with nature? Flower gardening is hands-on time together and memories. Olson's Greenhouse offers perfect plants for families to grow together. Visit Olson's at ogg.com.
You're listening to Retirement Solutions Radio. This is where you can count on straightforward and objective advice on how you can make your money go a lot further in retirement. And here are your hosts, Tyson Thacker and Ryan Thacker from Boss Retirement Solutions.
We've got a war in Iran going on, soaring oil prices, stubborn inflation. These are just some of the things that are currently driving volatility on Wall Street. And today we're talking about the smart defensive strategies that could protect your retirement savings. Welcome back to Retirement Solutions Radio. I'm Tyson Thacker, along with my brother Ryan. We are the Retirement Brothers from Boss Retirement Solutions and Advisors, the only boss that you ever need to help you with your retirement. And today we're talking about the smart strategies that could protect and grow your retirement savings, most importantly during stock market volatility. And coming up in our next segment, we're going to be talking about the most important thing that you can do right now that could minimize your downside risk with a downturn in the market. Ryan, in the last segment, we talked about don't let your emotions get the best of you. What is so important as we look at emotions? What's the next step that's going to help you to manage those emotions?
Well, what we like to say is have a plan for updating and rebalancing your portfolio. This comes back into the planning piece. We have a tool that allows you to measure your risk, and it's the Boss Retirement Risk Report. And what we love about this is, for most people, they don't even know when the last time they rebalance their portfolio. In fact, they just set it and forget it. Oftentimes, you're going to set up on a 401k withdrawal or 401k automatic contribution, and you're just going to have it go into the same thing that you've been doing. Maybe it's going into S&P 500, or maybe it's going into a bond portfolio and a stock mix. Maybe it's going into large cap or small cap, whatever investments you have inside your 401k. But then if you look back and you see what's happened over, the massive growth that we've had really since 2009, all of a sudden you may be way out of balance. What you thought you had in your portfolio now, because of the growth, it never got rebalanced and reset. And so this is where, when it comes to your investments, there's no such thing as set it and forget it. This is something that you need to be aware of. And, Tyson, I want to talk here a little bit about the Boss Retirement Risk Report and how that helps you. So, Tyson, just explain that for a second. When we measure someone's risk in a portfolio, what does that mean and how does this work?
Well, this is a great tool because it gives you insights that you've probably never seen before. So what you do is, when you come in and we help you with this report, is we have you bring all your statements in, wherever that money is.
Yep.
And so you may have money in an IRA, a 401k, a brokerage account, and we look at all that. And first, we ask you some really important questions individually. We talk about why you invested the way you did, or How long have you had it without rebalancing like you just talked about?
Yep.
And then this is an amazing tool that we can basically x-ray everything that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And we can show you actually, okay, with this particular holding, this is how much churn happens in the account with the buying and selling of a portfolio. You may not even understand that there is all of that buying and selling in the portfolio that you have it invested in, which may eat into the return on your investment by 1 or 2%.
Yeah.
It's like a fee, but it's a hidden fee.
Yep.
We can show you a actual percentage and a number on a score. It's like a speed limit sign.
Mm-hmm.
And we can show you on that speed limit sign how much risk you're taking so that you understand in each individual position how much risk you're taking and what that equates to in your overall portfolio. And you may have never seen that before. For instance, if you're in your 20s or 30s, it may be okay to take a little bit more risk because you've got a long-term horizon to invest. But if you're 50 or over, you've got to start mitigating some of those risks.
Yeah.
And it also shows what the bond portfolio looks like, how much risk you're taking, whether it's short or long-term bonds. In other words, it's a complete opportunity for you to see what risk you're taking and how we can help you mitigate that risk.
Yeah. I want to talk to you about, Tyson, you and I were talking about this lunch yesterday. Had a prospect come in 2023. He met with me. He was a business owner. He sold his business. And after tax and everything, he netted $5 million. And so, he was thinking, okay, this is it. I'm set. This is all I'm going to need. And now I don't have to worry about the business anymore. I can do everything and anything I want to.
Yes.
So he came to me in 2023 and he's like, hey, I'm really excited about this. I've sold the business. So my income's gone away from the business, but I have this big pot of money here, about $5 million. And he's like, what do you think I ought to do with it? And I said, well, the first thing I think we ought to do is we ought to measure your risk tolerance. And
Yes.
so, we sat down and like a lot of business owners, he had a high risk tolerance. His wife did not have a high risk tolerance.
Pretty common.
And, he had been making about $500,000 a year from his business.
Mhm.
And so, he wasn't spending all that. He had done a good job of setting some money aside as part of that nest egg. But he said, I think I did well in my business, so I think I'm going to go out and invest in other businesses. And I don't think I'm going to need your help. And I said, well, let me just give you a contrarian opinion to that a little bit. I'm like, you already won the game. You've already got it out. You don't, your lifestyle with the 5 million, you can easily solve your lifestyle challenges. He wasn't old enough to receive Social Security yet. And so I said, you just need to create an income stream out of that bucket of money. And, I would recommend that you be really careful with that. And
Yeah.
he said, well, so what would you recommend? And I happened to talk to him about, okay, since you've already won the game, let's make it predictable. Let's make it safe. Let's make it consistent. And I recommended some annuities to him. And he's like, annuities, those are boring, after running a business. And so anyways, he turned my offer down and I said, okay, great. I wish you all the best. And I just got a phone call from him last week. And here's the rest of the story. So he said, hey, I'm really embarrassed, but I'm kind of in a bind here.
Yeah.
And I want to tell you what's happened since we met in 2023. First thing he said is, I wish I would have bought some annuities.
Now, keep in mind, annuities aren't for everybody, right?
Exactly.
It's going to be customized.
I started laughing. I said, well, tell me what you mean by that. And he said, well, so here's what I did. I sat back and I thought, well, I made all my money from my business. So why shouldn't I go invest in businesses? So he went and invested in.
So he felt like I made money in a business. I can understand other businesses and make money there.
So he went and invested half, 50%. 50%. So $2.5 million into a business. Okay. Now, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Okay. This business was promising a 20% annual return on the investment.
Yeah.
And I actually saw this investment when it came across. And I was like, oh my gosh, run as far away as you can. Well, he didn't. He actually invested in the business.
And this goes into this idea of greed and fear, right?
Yes.
Emotions, keeping emotions in check. In his case, he got excited about the 20% return and had a little bit of greed in his eyes.
Yes. He got 3 months worth of payments at the 20%.
Ouch.
And then the next thing he heard was he got a call from a investigator that said, hey, This business is shutting down. It's a Ponzi scheme. Okay. So he lost 50%, 50 of everything that he'd worked for his entire life, lost 50%. The next thing that he did at the same time is he said, well, if this, $2.5 million at 20% is going to give me the income that I need, then I can put all the rest in high risk investments. So guess what he did? He went and put it in venture capital deals. And he thought, I'll make all these little bets on these venture capital deals. You know what happens in venture capital? 9 out of 10 of those are usually not going to make it, right? They're the home run bets. Everyone's hoping to go big, but now fast forward 3 years, he hasn't got one payment out of any of those. And all of a sudden, he's taken on way too much risk. So let me
just summarize really quickly.
How do we make sure that doesn't happen to the people who are listening?
Well, first we do a risk report like we talked about, and that's part of what we do here at Boss Retirement Solutions because you've invested. It's an important first step. You've got this portfolio, but that portfolio is not a game plan. What's your plan to reduce your taxes in retirement? How will you maximize your Social Security income, or how will you pay for the skyrocketing costs of healthcare? Most importantly, like this example that Ryan shared, you need income. These are just a few of the critical issues that need to be tackled before you can even think about calling it quits. That's why we're going to do something special just for the loyal listeners on today's show. We're going to create a comprehensive financial game plan for you, and we won't charge you a dime, even if you're not a client. It's called the Boss Retirement Blueprint, and that risk report is embedded in that blueprint that I'm talking about right now. It's especially helpful for families who have saved more than $300,000 for retirement. This is not some off-the-shelf report. It's customized specifically for you to address the biggest challenges in taxes, Social Security, healthcare, IRA, and 401k withdrawals. If you'd like to know how to make your money go a lot further in retirement, give us a call right now for your own blueprint at 800-918-3015. This financial game plan will open your eyes to what could be. So get started right now, 800-918-3015. That's 800-918-3015.
Coming up, I'm going to finish the rest of this story because I think it's important to close that loop. And we're going to reveal the number one danger facing anyone during a stock market downturn. Join us after the break.
More with Ryan and Tyson Thacker from Boss Retirement Solutions is coming up next.
You've been listening to a pre-recorded paid commercial program brought to you by Boss Retirement Solutions.
KSL Broadcast Group contests are open to participants 18 years of age and older that are residents of Utah, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest may not enter. Persons who have won in the last 30, 60, or 90 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available at kslnewsradio.com/contests.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel you attract people who tend to be compulsive or abusive?
Do you have money problems because of someone else's drinking?
Are you afraid or embarrassed to bring your friends home?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
More than half of all adults have a family history of alcoholism.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Couponing. Wow, you didn't strike me as the coupon type.
Just trying to stay ahead of inflation. Gas, groceries, everything. It's all more expensive. I need to save wherever I can.
Have you tried Upside yet?
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that I use that pays cash back for every gallon of gas I buy. You've got to buy gas to get around anyway. Might as well get paid for it.
Come on, does that really add up to anything?
I've already made around $200. The extra cash helped pay down my bills, and I even had a little extra left to treat myself.
And the Upside app is free?
Totally free. free and the cash back is real. You can transfer the cash right to your bank account.
I'm downloading Upside right now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code ENJOY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus. Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Couponing. Wow, you didn't strike me as the coupon type.
Just trying to stay ahead of inflation. Gas, groceries, everything. It's all more expensive. I need to save wherever I can.
Have you tried Upside yet?
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that I use that pays cash back for every gallon of gas I buy. You've got to buy gas to get around anyway. Might as well get paid for it.
Come on, does that really add up to anything?
I've already made around $200. The extra cash helped pay down my bills, and I even had a little extra left to treat myself.
And the Upside app is free?
Totally free, and the cash back is real. You can transfer the cash right to your bank account.
I'm downloading Upside right now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code ENJOY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Does your home have peeling paint or faded colors? Don't procrastinate. You need to protect your home with quality paint and a worry-free process, so make an appointment with CertaPro Painters. You quickly get a free estimate that's detailed, easy to understand, and then their trusted local professionals will bring fresh color to your home with quality craftsmanship at the right price. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated, so schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. CertaPro.com.
Mom and Dad used to argue about everything, especially about Dad's drinking. It drove me crazy. It got so bad, I couldn't do my homework. I couldn't concentrate. I absolutely refused to let any of my friends come to our house for any reason. I would have been humiliated if anyone found out how much my dad drank and how loud my mom screamed at him. My family went from totally crazy to quiet, calm, and even peaceful. The only thing that happened is my mom started going to Al-Anon family groups. Her relationship with my dad really changed. I asked Mom if she would take me to her Al-Anon meetings or to Alateen. I wanted to see if I could have a better relationship with my dad. I'm sure glad I did. If someone's drinking troubling you, you might be surprised at what you can learn in an Al-Anon or Alateen family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-ALANON or go to alanon.org.
An emergency can happen any second. Here's a few seconds to think about where you'd go. When you need medical care fast, the closest emergency room is a smart thing to know. Common Spirit Health ERs are your direct path between feeling scared or uncomfortable and feeling better. Find emergency care in your neighborhood at mountain.commonspirit.org.
You're listening to a pre-recorded paid commercial program brought to you by Boss Retirement Solutions.
Want to learn how you can make your money go a lot further in retirement? You've come to the right place. Welcome back to Retirement Solutions Radio with Ryan Thacker and Tyson Thacker from Boss Retirement Solutions.
The number one danger facing anyone in or near retirement right now is something called sequence of returns risk. And we're going to talk about this and how it related to the story that I talked about in the last segment. But according to CNBC, retiring during a downturn in the stock market could mean 2/3 less money for the rest of your life. Welcome back to Retirement Solutions Radio. I'm Ryan Thacker, along with my brother Tyson. We are the Retirement Brothers from Boss Retirement Solutions and Advisors. And today we're talking about smart strategies that could grow and protect your retirement savings during stock market volatility. And coming up in this segment, we'll talk about something called sequence of returns risk that could be your biggest risk in retirement. And if you missed the last segment, I was talking about a prospect that came in, just wanted my advice. He had sold a business. He netted out $5 million that he had after tax with all of his different savings. He asked me what his advice was, and I said, we need to build a plan for you. The plan that I talked to him about, he felt like it was too conservative, it was too boring. He went out and he invested the $5 million. First one, he put 50% in a business that was a Ponzi scheme, promising a 20% return. Went bankrupt, not surprising, right? And he's lost all of his money on that. The other 50% he put into venture capital. These were high risk bets that he thought was going to generate and turn his $2.5 million that he put on the rest of the portfolio into another 5 million or another 10 million. That was his hope.
Yeah.
Now all these companies are struggling in venture capital. They were startups. And so, in other words, he put it all on red, right? He was gambling and betting for that. Well, the sequence of return. Okay, we're going to talk about this principle here on how this works. But here he is now. He's 60 years old now in 2026. He called me and said, I don't know what to do. And I said, well,
I mean, $5 million, he's lost a lot of money.
The first 2.5 is gone. The other 2.5, high likelihood you're probably never going to see that.
It's tied up right now.
And so it's tied up. And so he's down to Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
So here he was, 5 million down to Social Security. And he's like, oh, I wish I would have just listened to you. He's like, I want boring now. I want boring. I don't want the high risk. I had already won. And Tyson, I think this plays exactly into, I hope he gets some of his money out of his second part of his portfolio.
Right.
I wish he would have just joined as a client. He would still be enjoying those paychecks and enjoying retirement right now with the plan that we could have set up for him. But, here we are now. This is a scenario that I think a lot of people are facing. We've had a lot of stock market gains. We've had a lot of real estate investment gains, but now we need to talk about sequence of returns. What does sequence of returns mean, Tyson?
Well, sequence of returns means that it depends on when you retire. It arises from withdrawing your money out of all of your retirement accounts, your IRAs, your 401ks, from either a shrinking portfolio or a building portfolio. In other words, do you retire into an upward trending stock market? Or are you retired into a downward trending stock market? It can have a huge impact on your withdrawal strategies in retirement, because when the market's declining, you don't have the luxury of withdrawing as much money as you would like to or are used to. And here's a quote. It's clear the initial years of retirement are critical to ensuring retirement savings can go the distance. Our research finds that if a retiree emerges from the first 5 years of retirement unscathed by stock market losses, it substantially reduces the likelihood that he or she will prematurely exhaust his savings, end quote. So in other words, if you're taking money, let's say the stock market goes down, you retire, you start pulling money out of your retirement accounts. You not only are pulling that money out, but the portfolio value is going down at the same time. So it's never going to come back up. Whereas if you retire in an upward market, as you pull money out, it gets replenished because the market continues to go up. And then you take even more of a hit when you get to required minimum distributions, because the government is forcing you to take money out for those required minimum distributions. So we've got to make sure that there's a plan in place of how you do it. Because if the market's down 10, 20, 30%, you are going to lose a lot of money in the market. And then it even goes to let's talk about the 4% rule in a sequence of returns scenario, Ryan. What does that look like?
Well, 4% rule says if I've got $1 million saved for retirement, you're going to say the old rule of thumb said you could draw about 4% out of the portfolio, or $40,000 out of your $1 million portfolio. Well, if that was your plan, and then the stock market goes down by 50%.
Yeah.
So your million goes down to 500,000, but you still need that money to live on. Well, now what you're drawing, if you're taking that same $40,000 withdrawal, you're drawing a lot higher percentage out of your portfolio. And what that's going to mean typically is you're going to run out of money.
Yeah.
And so you cannot control when the market's going to go up and when it's going to go down. And so this is where you need to talk about solutions. How do you get to the solution point with this, Tyson, so that you can make sure that you sleep well at night? Well, we don't want to have your withdrawals dependent upon what's happening up and down in the stock market.
Right.
This gets back to fundamentals and back to basics, right?
It gets back to creating income streams that you can never outlive. And it may be in an annuity, it may be dividends. There's a lot of different opportunities. But Ryan, what can we do to really help people to take that next step to a solution?
Well, if you've saved and invested for retirement, that's obviously important. But remember what you're looking at on that statement. It's a portfolio. It's not a financial game plan when you look at your 401k statement. So, how are you going to reduce taxes on your IRA and 401ks? How are you going to pay for the skyrocketing cost of healthcare? You pay for that with income. How are you going to turn this into income instead of just a bucket full of stocks in a portfolio? These are just a few of the critical issues that need to be tackled before you think about retiring. And that's why we've created something special just for you listening. We're going to give you the chance to get this game plan. We call it the Boss Retirement Blueprint. This is not a one-size-fits-all plan. It's customized specifically for you. It addresses the biggest challenges with taxes, Social Security, healthcare, IRA and 401k withdrawals, and so much more. Now, many advisors, they're going to charge hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars for a customized financial game plan. But the good news is we do all the heavy lifting and it won't cost you anything. Think about that. For a typical family that has saved $500,000 to several $1 million, this is an absolute bargain. But if you've saved at least $300,000, give us a call right now. And this could be the single most important tool that helps you navigate all of the volatility that's going on right now. Give us a call, 800-918-3015. That phone number is 800-918-3015.
Ryan, we just talked about the Boss Retirement Blueprint. One of the buckets within the Boss Retirement Blueprint is a growth bucket. In other words, what are the opportunities to grow your retirement savings during stock market volatility or a downturn in the stock market? We're going to talk more about that when we come back.
To get your complimentary Boss Retirement Tax Savings Analysis, call now at 800-918-3015. Again, that's 800-918-3015.
If you've saved more than $300,000, there's one thing you can do now that can make your savings go twice as far in retirement, and it's tax planning. That's right. Tax planning could significantly reduce the taxes on your IRA and 401k withdrawals, Social Security benefits, and other investment income. Find out how much money you could save with a free retirement tax savings analysis from the good people at Boss Retirement Solutions. To schedule your free analysis, call 801-896-9622. Tax planning for retirement could reduce your taxes not just for 1 year, but for the rest of your life. And the savings could be six figures. Let's find out how much money you could save. Call 801-896-9622. 801-896-9622.
For informational purposes only, actual results may vary. No statement contained herein shall constitute tax, legal, or investment advice. Advisory services offered through Boss Retirement Advisors, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products and services offered through Boss Retirement Solutions.
Jackson Hewitt will do your taxes for $149 or less, no matter how complicated. So if you're a delivery driver, /handyman, /wedding DJ, you pay only $149 or less. We're talking to you, waitress.
Check, please.
/pet sitter, /influencer. Just $149 or less. Want your refund to work as hard as you? Hurry. Don't wait. File with Jackson Hewitt today. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Febreze. New Febreze Air Mist has 50% more odor fighters and up to 30% more fragrance than the old formula. So now you can take on 100% more stinky odors, like sweaty gym bags, greasy cooking smells, and the after effects of the dog rolling around in something. Just spray, and new Febreze Air instantly restores just clean freshness. Smell you later, odor. Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
This is Carla Hall for Eggland's Best. Eggs are a staple in our diets, and there's only one egg with more delicious farm-fresh taste plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best. With more vitamins, including 6 times more vitamin D and 10 times more vitamin E, plus 25% less saturated fat than ordinary eggs. Available in so many delicious varieties, we've got classic, cage-free, organic, free-range, and pasture-raised. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
They've helped thousands of families retire successfully, and they could help you too. Welcome back to Retirement Solutions Radio with Tyson Thacker and Ryan Thacker from Boss Retirement Solutions.
Let me ask you this.
Do you remember one of the most famous quotes from Warren Buffett? He said, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful." End quote. Welcome back to Retirement Solutions Radio. I'm Tyson Thacker along with my brother Ryan. We are the Retirement Brothers from Boss Retirement Solutions and Advisors. And today we've been talking about some time-tested strategies that you need to understand to protect and grow your savings during periods of stock market volatility. And Ryan, let's just recap really quickly before we jump into this final part of our show today. In segment number 1, we talked about don't let your emotions get the best of you, because when you see that quote from Warren Buffett of fear and greed, that's what really the stock market is based off of. Mm-hmm. And you can't let either one of those things be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Segment number 2, updating and rebalancing your portfolio. We shared a great example of a potential client who looks like they're going to lose it all because they got greedy at the wrong time.
Yep.
And now they're fearful.
Yep.
And then in our last segment, we talked about the importance of understanding what sequence of returns risk is and how to overcome it, and that we can help you to do it. So in this final segment, we're going to be talking about how tough times could lead to amazing opportunities to purchase more and to make some upside too. Because at the end of last segment, we talked about the Boss Retirement Blueprint and the growth bucket, and that's an important aspect of the planning as well.
Exactly. You know, Tyson, I think a good frame for this is the 2008 great financial crisis.
Mm-hmm.
If you really step back and if you look at what happened, I remember very well. We took our kids to Disneyland, and I remember walking through and seeing the headline on the Wall Street Journal.
I remember this so well too.
This said Lehman Brothers declares bankruptcy. That was September of 2008. And it was like, well, this is going to get exciting. This is, here's one of the 5 crown jewels investment banks of Wall Street that had been around for over 100 years, and all of a sudden they're bankrupt. That was the big drop. And then all of a sudden you had all these different things that no one had ever heard about, like mortgage-backed securities and all these different things that caused the real estate market to crash. That seems like a distant memory for a lot of people right now. We lived it. We watched it. And so when you go through something like that, or you go through 2001, I mean, there's just 2 time periods as you're listening to this that you experienced, September 11th, 2001, the dot-com bubble, then the Great Recession. We've seen that markets come back.
Yeah.
Right? Now, the challenge is what's probably different this time is you're probably either closer to retirement or you're in retirement. Mm-hmm. So let's go from the positive side. And let's say that you've created a great game plan. You've been able to optimize your Social Security. You have a solid income. So your income, where it's going to come from every month. Maybe you have some annuities, maybe you have a pension, and this paycheck just comes in. So you feel good about that. You've done all the things with managing your portfolio, making sure that that's in the right place. You have a solid plan, and you've optimized your plan for taxes. And now let's say you've got another $1 million left over. Okay. What are the opportunities? Well, go back to 2008, and all of a sudden we had very solid companies that lost 30, 40, 50% of their value. What about this presents an opportunity now? I think this is a time period where the caution flag is up. You don't want to make big bets where the market's at all-time highs right now, and we've come a little bit off those tops at the time of recording this in March of 2026. But let's just play out a scenario. Let's say you've got a good plan, you've got some money set aside, and all of a sudden the stock market drops 50%. What are the buying opportunities, Tyson's, that presents themselves when a market drops by 50%?
Well, the beautiful thing is you're now buying all of those things on sale, right?
50% discount.
50% discount. And this goes back to the Boss Retirement Blueprint as well. The first bucket in the blueprint is cash.
Yeah.
And when we do planning with cash, we not only have you set aside an emergency fund, but a lot of times we'll set some additional money aside that's for dry powder, for buying in opportunities like this.
Yes.
Because if you can do that, then you're going to be smiling all the way through a recession.
Yes.
Because you were able to pick those stocks on sale and get a quick return in a lot of cases if it bounces right back. But if you don't have money set aside, or if you don't have a plan in place, or all of your money is sitting in somewhere that's illiquid, then all that's going to happen is you're going to have the portfolio that you own right now go down and only be able to cross your fingers that it's going to go back up. Would you rather have the opportunity for risk Or would you rather actually be able to take advantage of the opportunity? It's a double-edged coin, right? Or a double-edged sword that you can either look at it on the negative side or you can look at it from an abundant side. And that's what your retirement should feel like. That's what the Boss Retirement Blueprint is all about, is abundance and being able to make sure that you've got the opportunity to do everything and anything that you want to do in retirement. And, there's this amazing quote, Ryan, that is from Yahoo Finance. And it says this: short-term turbulence in the stock market can be enough to make a novice investor nauseous. But veterans like Warren Buffett say it's all part of the game. In May 2025, one of his last Berkshire Hathaway shareholder meetings before retirement, the 95-year-old commented on the roller coaster effect President Donald Trump's reciprocal tariffs had on the market. He said, what happened in the last 30, 45, even 100 days, whatever you call it, it's really nothing. He said, it's all about the market and how you can take advantage of it. In other words, Warren Buffett sees those opportunities. You ought to too.
Exactly. And I think this is a good time to just pause and think about, okay, what if I had a plan? Like, I had all this run up in the stock market. The market's come down. At the time we're recording this, it's between 7 and 10%, depending on the day that it came off from the very tippy top of the peak. But that means you're still up big. What if you said, hey, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna lock in some of my profit, and I'm gonna put it in a place and we have strategies that we can talk to you about this. Lock in some of the profit, set it aside, and put it in a place that you can't lose money if the market were to continue to go down, because you've already won, right?
Yes.
It's kind of like, hey, I didn't hit the high, but let's take some money off the table. Let's put that in a place that I can't lose money, but I can still have some good returns. Then let's have it in a strategy that we can be able to participate when those bargains happen. Let's say that we do have an ongoing war and that we have these things that go on extended and the market does drop 30, 40, 50%. Now, of course, we're not saying it's going to, but let's just hypothetically say that it does. It goes down, and then you can come and use some of that dry powder, the locked in profits that you had, to be able to take advantage of these opportunities if stocks were to go down 30, 40, 50%. Buy at a lower point, dollar cost average in, and then ride it back up. We know they're going to recover eventually.
So in other words, it's not just about having cash. It's not just about having the ability to take some of the gains that you've had in the stock market and reinvest them somewhere else. It's about having a plan, because those give you all these different opportunities and a lot more that we haven't even talked about yet today. And that's why it's so important that you take control of your financial future, right?
Yes. And taking action.
Yeah.
Right.
Taking action is what it's all about, because if you don't take action, then all that's going to happen is you're going to have more missed opportunities instead of being able to enjoy the next steps of your life.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about a powerful principle, Tyson, that you and I use personally. It's called 10-year thinking.
Yes.
And what we like to do is we like to step back, especially in moments of volatility like we're experiencing right now. And it's like, okay, if I'm sitting here 10 years from today, looking back on today, what's going to be a wise decision? And I think when you take it from that frame instead of what is the immediate chaos that's happening right in front of you, all of a sudden this perspective changes.
Yes.
You start to look, you step back, instead of looking at the trees, you step back and you look at the whole forest, and you can start to make good decisions. How has 10-year thinking, Tyson, helped us as we've made decisions throughout our careers?
10-year thinking has completely changed. It goes from chaos and fear about the immediate, and you look down the road and say, what's my goal? And it doesn't matter if the immediate is scary, because you can look down the road and say, I can get there eventually.
Yes.
One of our
goes from chaos to calm,
and from fear to clarity. It makes a huge difference. And that all comes from the planning. It all comes from the Boss Retirement Blueprint, because that's the ultimate 10-year or more plan that you can count on. So how can we help people to take that next step, Ryan?
Well, Tyson, we would invite you to come in and be able to take a look at what your plan really looks like, because it's not about what it's about what you do with the money that really matters, that you've saved. And that could be the key to helping you retire much sooner than you've ever dreamed of. It's about having a plan. It's about being able to get the most from Social Security, how to reduce your taxes in retirement, how to generate income, and how to, make sure that you can enjoy those things that you want to do in retirement. And that's why we've put something together just for you listening. We call it the Retirement Game Plan which is the Boss Retirement Blueprint. It's customized to your specific situation. It's free. We don't charge you a dime for this. It's a customized plan that looks as it's your taxes in retirement, your IRAs and 401ks, how you're going to generate income, how you're going to optimize your Social Security, and so much more. Now, if you've saved at least $300,000 for retirement, pick up the phone and give us a call right now. This is the perfect time. If you haven't sat down and planned before, this is a great time to do it, because we'd love to do it for everybody, but unfortunately, we just don't have that many time slots. We've got 9 time slots available for 9 qualified callers on the show today. Pick up the phone, give us a call at 800-918-3015. Remember, this is not going to cost you a dime. Call us at 800-918-3015. Thanks so much for joining us today. Keep calm, carry on, and remember this: retiring successfully doesn't happen by accident. It starts with a game plan, and that plan is the Boss Retirement Blueprint.
Advisory services offered through Boss Retirement Advisors, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products and services offered through Boss Retirement Solutions. Information contained in this material is for informational purposes only. Actual results may vary. No statement contained herein shall constitute tax, legal, or investment advice. The information is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the